that you regurgitate. Fear keeps you locked, comfort keeps you tame. But ignorance is gasoline on the flame. This isn't noise, it's survival now. Use your mind or take or so get its life or death. Every life you breathe is a borrowed breath.
You're running now, wake up before it's too late. Blind faith is a self-dug grave.
Stand up, take control back. Oh, watch the whole damn world collapse.
Hey, welcome in, guys. Welcome in. All right. Welcome back, my glorious Tater Nation. You know it's me, your friendly neighborhood potato, peeking out from beneath the soil, watching the world grow, and occasionally trip over its own shoelaces. And boy, howdy, does it do that these days. And you know us potatoes, we've got lots and lots of eyes, and we like watching all the interesting things that humans do up top. From culture to politics, from history to the headlines, from common sense to complete nonsense, breaking it down like only a potato can. Today, we're going to be digging in, brushing off the dirt, and taking a good, honest look at what's really going on. So grab a seat, grab a snack, preferably a potato, and let's see what the world looks like today through a potato's eye. And as always, I like to start my streams out with inspiration if I can remember it. And today I've got, if so, I have been dug up, stepped on, and I still end up on a plate. Resilient works, guys. And of course, Bruce Lee, take things as they are. Punch when you have to punch, and kick when you have to kick. So today, the theme is critical thinking. And that's why the song was a little bit different today. All right, so let's see. Who do we have in the chat today? We had Marcelary that started the chat off. It said, she said, glad to hit another live, 2 in a row. And that is awesome. I appreciate you being here. Good to see you. Homestead, I saw you. You were second. Appreciate you being here. Let's see. We got Apprentice. Good to see you, man. Let's go. Remember to like before you change the chat to all, or you'll have to change it again, apparently. Yeah, if you're on a phone, you have to leave to go change the, to go like, it'll change it back. So remember to change the all to all messages again. Hey, Hardwire, good to see you, man. Good to see you. And if you're in the chat, and you don't know, Hardwire has his own show that usually happens right after my show ends, I believe, today. So I'll try to remember to give that shout out at the end of the stream, and we'll see if we can get some viewers over there today for him. All right, so today, so if you notice the thumbnail, it's mainly Warren Smith, and if you don't know Warren Smith, he's another YouTuber that I think I've featured once or twice, and good guy. And we'll talk about his appearance on Triggernometry. And of course, as always, those links are in the description below. Please go check those channels out when you have a second. Appreciate you being here, Dave. Let's see, 9 likes out of 10 viewers. One of us is slacking. Thank you, Marcelary. Appreciate that. All right, so let's get over into something funny for the day. Start out as I usually do with something kind of funny. So this was this is hilarious. We'll see if it's offensive at all.
Watch this?
Yes, Mike. It's time you learn something, right? And this is why you can't make these types of jokes anymore.
Jeez, this is why we can't make these kind of jokes anymore. Hey, Jess, the Shepherdess, appreciate you being here. And of course, if you are in the chat and you don't know, Jess has her own channel as well. Trying to get out there. Does sheep content, stuff like that.
Hey, play it.
Imagine being taken away from your home in chains. Imagine never having new clothes to wear, or enough food to eat, or a real bed to sleep in. Imagine being forced to do backbreaking work every can never get paid. Because
It's not
instead
chicken.
of
Relax.
this property, they can be sold away from their families at any time.
Relax. It's not
Maybe
crispy
sold
chicken.
at auction.
1 hour later.
Wow. I told you, Mike.
I told you,
Not
man.
all jokes are funny. We really had it tough out there.
Tough? You guys had free rent,
You had free rent.
free food, free room and board.
That's what
You got to frolic in the fields. The
That's
world
what you
was
took from
thriving. You even the auction looked like the draft.
Okay.
Like you were on the podium. the
Okay.
stadium.
I think you missed the complete point of this video.
You guys honestly got
missed-
fucked. Now you're at.
I think you missed the complete point of this video. Man, you guys up.
Paying taxes, slaving away, doing a 9 to 5. They had it better, man. You guys blew it.
You guys blew it.
Thanks for the popcorn. We should watch Entourage next time.
We should watch Entourage. Oh, I paused it right at the wrong time.
Somebody said that the reason that
Yeah, the ding. It's so funny. All right. So, on something not so funny, I've mentioned that I worked in the oil field. I covered an oil field, oil rig that walked the other day. So I've come across, since I hit a couple of oil filled videos, it's shown me other oil filled videos. So I'll show you a little bit about what they deal with in the oil field here. And this is crazy. This is why men need more respect than they get, to be completely honest. Hey, gamer, appreciate you being here. I'm here, won't be active in the chat because I'm on my iPad. That's all right. Appreciate you, the view and the chat while you can. Hey, Blood Logos, appreciate you being here, man. Good to see you. And if anybody in the chat doesn't know, Blood Logos does have his own channel as well. Definitely go check his channel out. I covered one of your videos the other day. You posted it. That video that you sent me, posted it the other day. So hopefully it gives you some more views. People will find your channel. All right. So let's see. All right. Let me get into this real quick. This is something I came across. This I might have mentioned it on stream. I can't remember for sure who I was talking to about this, but I come across another safety video when I was in the oil field about something similar to this. But this is kind of the idea of what they deal with. So it'll rewind there here in a second. But you can see that launches that piece of drilling pipe out of that derrick. So this is the derrick. It just launches that and it just disappears. Who knows where that went? Who knows? It's pretty concerning there. All right, so let's see. So this is the kind of stuff that they kind of have to deal with. How many women would want to deal with this kind of stuff? Especially this one here. See, I personally didn't have to deal with this kind of stuff, but because I was on a third party, right? I only provided the equipment to the rigs. I didn't actually have to work on the rigs themselves. But this kind of stuff, this is crazy. They were obviously taking a kick. So again, if you watched a couple of my other reviews of oil field, they're taking a kick, which means they've hit an oil. A gas pocket. It's probably pushing mud back up their pipe, and they're having to cap that off so that they can get another pipe onto it. And the mud that's packing up into that guy's eyes right now, I can't even imagine. I had this one boss that I worked for underneath. He had been working for the company that I worked for. Basically, was we provided shakers and mud cleaners and things like that. And there's this one particular kind of mud cleaner that had a centrifugal kind of a cleaner, and it would basically spin the mud around. And as the smaller solids would spin, they would go out of the upper outlet. And then as they would go down through the bottom outlet, they would go onto a screen, and the screen would take out the larger pieces, and it would go off the screen and things like that. Well, anyway, long story short, those cones got packed off, and the guy that I was working under said that one of the guys that he was working with at one point in time tried to unpack one of those cones because they would get packed off quite frequently. He was unpacking it, and when he went to unpack it with like a wire, it just gave. And all of that shell, it was a shell that they were drilling into. So if you don't know much about shell rock, it's just really fine, kind of flakes off into this really sharp kind of stuff. And it gave, and all of that hit that screen where it came right up underneath his safety glasses, right up into his eye. The stuff that the oil field guys deal with is unbelievable sometimes. Again, I didn't work on the rigs themselves. I can't say that I had a lot to do with the oil field, but I had enough to know that it's not something I wanted to deal with a whole lot. So this is the last one that I have. This guy, so this is a derrick man. He's tripping in pipe. Okay, so he's bringing the pipe back out of those fingers and bringing it back into the mechanism to drop it back into the hole. So watch how dangerous this can end up getting. So as he pulls it out, he's got to steady himself. Yeah, he has a lanyard on the back of him, but this is coming up. And if the driller is really on it, this will come up. I've seen this come up 3 times as fast. And that derrick man has to be able to do this all in a split second. So he's got to be able to drop it into the mechanism and then close the mechanism. And I've seen guys lose their finger in this quite a bit, from what I understand. So again, how many women want to deal with this kind of stuff, right? All right, so let me get into something a little bit funnier before we get started on what we had. I want to say, oh, this is kind of funny. Kind of funny, like ironic funny, but not haha funny.
Welcome to another day of listening to a record from my grandfather's record collection that I inherited. So what's on Grandpa's turntable today? Rage Against the Machine's self-titled debut album.
That's messed up. Oh man, I'm pretty sure a lot of us in the chat are about the same age, so I'm sure that hits you about the same as it did me, probably. Freaking old feeling these days for sure. All right, let's see. Dang, you guys got quite a bit going on in the chat. Appreciate the engagement, guys. All right, so let's see. What else do I have? So there was a video, I don't know if I saved it now, that just came out. This is actually fucking funny. Just stopped behind a school bus and none of the kids flipped me off. This generation is so soft. Yeah, again, isn't that the truth? Chat. I'm sure we all can relate on that one. Oh man, I remember flipping so many people off from behind the bus just for the fuck of it. Oh, okay, so here it is. All right, so on last Sunday, I covered the latest attempt on Trump's life, right? So if you haven't seen this enhanced, I don't know if it's AI. I don't know what is going on in this video, but this is the latest information that I've come across to be interested in that caught my eye. Hey, Beatrix, good to see you. Not a job I want. Yeah, and that's just it. I mean, I respect you for saying that, and I want to say I thank you very much for being here as often as you are. You're a real one for sure. I know that a lot of the people in my chat I talk to on a pretty much daily basis because they're in my Discord. But a few of you aren't in my Discord, and I just want to say thank you so much for always being here. JB, thank you very much for being here, man. I appreciate the engagement. You're another real one. Hardwire, you're another one. Appreciate you. Anybody that's not active in my Discord, I really appreciate you guys always being here, always getting that notification bell and showing up like you do. I really appreciate it. All right, so let's get into this real quick. So, like I said, this is a video that I came across. It's colored. It's a lot more clear. So where did this video come from? What were we watching last Sunday that was all grainy and blurry and stuff? And why do we have this now, right? So this dog sniffs. So this gentleman, the one that comes out flying through here, running like a banshee with a firearm, just walked casually into that room. Okay. This officer trained dog goes and sniffs the room, obviously alerting the officer of something that needs to be paid attention to. The officer pulls the dog back. No, there must be nothing wrong. Dude's watching it. I mean, you look at him. He's staring right into that room. Casually walks off, and then seconds later, dude comes flying out of there with a full range rifle. It's not like it's a sawed off. So what is going on here? This is crazy. Again, I'm not speculating anything, but this is starting to feel really off. Our security needs to be retrained or something along those lines. If this is real, again, I've seen a lot of AI videos come out. This was posted by Michael Knowles, so it's really hard to say that it's not something worth looking into. I know Michael Knowles has a lot of jokes that he likes to play and things like that, but yeah, that was interesting that I came across that colored video. All right, so let's see, what do I got in the chat? I wish I was 25. Yeah, there's a lot of 25. Yeah, I wish I was 25 too. Man, do I wish I was still younger. I've been really feeling my age lately, guys. I don't like it. I really want to get more young generation to listen to the older generation. So like I mentioned earlier, so the people that are in my Discord know, but the people that aren't in my Discord. So I went to a middle school career fair. And since I'm an entrepreneur, I'm a self-starter, I'm a one-man show, I felt like I had something to give back. And I still feel like that. But it was wild to see all of these full-fledged companies, banks, the park service, all of these fossils coming out, things that kids like to be entertained by, right? And I'm sitting here with my laptop and some cards because I had no idea what I was getting myself into. I had no idea what to expect. However, I had more people talk to me than I expected to once I saw the competition, essentially. But I partly contribute the attention because I was next to a bank and they had like a wheel that they could spin and they could win prizes. So the kids all had to wait in line, and those kids had to wait in line in front of my booth. And so I was able to talk to people. I was like, hey, how are you? We need more people in the trades. Come talk to me. And of course, they had a card that they had to fill out. They had to hit so many booths in the day and things like that. So some of them had to come talk to me, and they just like throw me their card. And at first, I had no idea what they were doing, and then I realized what they were assigned to do. And so I started asking them, "Do you need me to sign your card?" And some of them were like, "Nah, we're just here to learn." And that made me feel so good. Because we need more people in the younger generation that are just willing to learn what is out there available to them. A lot of them were probably women, females that are probably not going to go into the trades, especially into the trade that I'm in. But it was good to see people in the younger generation to come out and ask questions about it. We need bright lights, explosions, and it's to bring the younger generation. I can only provide one of those things. Yeah, that's just it. Is I definitely don't have any great tits, that's for sure. I try to bring explosions. It doesn't always work too well, but I try. All right, so today I'm going to cover a couple of different topics like normal. The first one I would like to talk about real quick is the Twitch CEO, Dan Clancy, apparently responds to Morgue Pie. I've never heard of this particular streamer, and more than likely you'll see somebody highlighted most of the stream because of what's going to just be shown here. But this is concerning. We need to be more aware of this kind of stuff. and we need to be more willing to push back against this kind of stuff. So I'll let him explain it real quick. This is done by Maury on Facebook. First time I believe that I've featured this gentleman, but he's going to explain this real quick here.
Twitch CEO Dan Clancy responds to Morgpie having a human slave on stream. He said, and I quote, "It doesn't violate our TOS and she wasn't viewbotting. As far as I'm concerned, this also appears to be consensual. I admire the innovation streamers bring to the platform." And this is the CEO, the Gooner, Twitch CEO, Dan Clancy. And
yeah, so you can see why I'll probably have something up on the screen at all times during this particular stream. So make sure you get those chats in so I have something to always highlight on this particular video. And we'll go ahead and get started here.
this is Morgpie, and here's the clip of her having some kind of human slave on stream. Kind of weird.
Place.
Apparently he doesn't have a problem with this.
Good.
I mean, I'm sorry, but if this were to be a male streamer, and again, this is, you know, this is the world we live in, right? But he appreciates the innovation that this young lady is bringing to the streaming platform. Fan-freaking-tastic. Yeah. Yeah, that was actually a pretty good highlight, wasn't it? I didn't notice until I basically stopped the highlight. But yeah, good one, Blood Logos, for sure. Okay, so yeah, so make sure we have something to cover something big, something long, right? Make sure those longer chats come in. Anyway, getting back to this.
Like, I just gotta pause right here and just say how far Twitch has fallen from what it used to be. It used to be a platform for gamers, people to chill and relax and just watch their favorite creator chill and like play video games and, you know, donate and chat with other community members. And now we literally have human like BDSM. What is this? What do you call this? BDSM, fetishized human slave kink type content? If this, I just gotta say, if the roles were reversed and this were a male with a woman popping out like this, bro, immediately termination, immediate ban for life, like indefinitely. Not
immediate. It would be, it would almost be like that second the chat would, or the stream would go down. Like, it's just, again, the double standards. This is ridiculous. I kind of wish I would have paused it before it got back to featuring her. But anyway, long story short, we need to be pushing back on this just as much as we'd be pushing back on a gentleman if he were to be the streamer forcing a young female to be doing this in the background in any way, shape, or form. Like he mentions here in a minute, if she were in a school outfit, it would be bad enough. This would be absolutely, he would be terminated.
even indefinitely, permanently, bro.
Permanently.
How does anyone get away with this? Like, what is this? Is she giving him a snack?
That's perfect, Dave. I appreciate that. Trollop shaming. That's perfect.
Dude, Twitch actually allows people to have fetishized, what is this, BDSM content? That's what you call it? BDSM content. I just want to make sure I'm getting, the terms right. BDSM, all right? Shit, man. Yeah, I don't think I can show this on YouTube.
No,
let's just call it
not.
the plastic kink, right?
Yeah. This is where we really needed to leave it behind closed doors. It should never have come out. It shouldn't be a really thing, because it shouldn't have ever come out. But the fact that this came out is we need to put it back in the closet for sure.
Kink where you have skin tight plastic things on your body. All right. However, before we go any further, I need everyone to pay close attention. Now, recently, a jury ordered.
Stop it.
The Twitch CEO Dan Clancy, here's Morgpie, and people are now saying a VTuber was banned last week for having exposed hips on her model, while this is allowed.
Oh, really, JB? Stuff Katy Perry has. That's a interesting. I just saw. I think it might have been Nuxorn. Maybe just covered something along those lines. Maybe I'll have to cover that maybe next week or something. Do a little bit of my own research into it. But yeah, she's quite something, isn't she? Apprentice says, blessed are you when they revile and persecute you and say all kinds of evil against you falsely for my sake. Matthew 5:11. Thank you for that verse. Yeah, thank you very much, Dave. If you have not liked the stream, please turn on your notifications after you've subscribed so that you do get the notification that I'm alive. Hey, Bandit, good to see you. What the hell was that? Seriously, though, this is a wild one. I just can't believe that Twitch. And what's really sad is we vote with our dollars, right? We vote with our activity, our attention. So us giving attention to the platform itself gives the ability for this to continue to happen. Where I do appreciate a lot of these Twitch streamers. That's just it. That's why it's such a problem, is because, like he mentioned earlier in the stream, where that used to be a platform for just gamers to get together and support each other. Now it's turned into this stuff, an OF pipeline, essentially, as the title of this video is called. Let's see. Oh, really? That's fucking wild. JB, appreciate that information. 14. It's just getting fucking blatant, isn't it? It's just getting out there. They don't even care anymore. How can a young man cleanse his way? By taking heed according to your word. Psalms 119:9, apprentice. What better to cover those than the word? I appreciate it. All right, so let's get back into this real quick. We'll finish this up.
Other people are saying, if this were the reverse and a guy had SEX Slave on his stream on an underage platform, humiliating her and feeding her dog treats, he would get permabanned. There'd be an investigation. People.
And that's another thing is Twitch is a lot of different ages. Like, it's not just an adult streaming platform. I don't know I'm not on Twitch. I don't watch on Twitch, so I don't know a whole lot about the guidelines of Twitch, but anybody can be watching this, and her is flamboyantly shown and all of that. So glad I don't use Twitch. Yeah, Marcy, I'm the same way. Wow, that's definitely something I wouldn't want to be associated with, and that's just it. Beatrix, appreciate the engagement. You too, yeah. It's probably a good thing. I mean, again, I do appreciate their, like, the whatever podcast. There will be a clip that I'm covering of theirs. They're on Twitch. They are fairly large on Twitch, so there are some good streamers on Twitch, but I don't know how much the whole platform needs to be reprimanded, I'd say.
Would demand prison, and the entire internet would want him hung from the neck. Well, guys, we all understand the double standards. Like, this is nothing new, bro. Like, I don't feel like this needs to be said. Clearly, female streamers have been able to get away with a lot of different things. Male streamers have not been able to get away with. That's just the dynamics, of the situation of society. And
that's a good one, Dave. Good and long. Here is Galatians 6:1. Brothers and sisters, if someone is caught in a sin, you who live by the Spirit should restore that person gently, but watch yourselves, or you also may be tempted. Appreciate that verse.
Twitch CEO himself being a major gooner, like, is anybody shocked? Someone said, why doesn't the Twitch CEO do something about this? Who do you think is in the suit? Who do we think is in the suit, guys? Who do you think is in the suit? I don't know, man. This is crazy. Another person said, honestly, permanently ban her. Permanently ban the high.
And he's on his phone. He's sitting there on his phone, like, punched over his, like, this generation is so cooked, guys. The idea of having a pocket device that you can always have to do whatever you want to at all times. I appreciate my phone at times, because there are things that I do need to look up. I need to make sure that I'm going the right places at times, GPS and things like that. But I try to use it as a tool and not just a lifeline. And unfortunately, it's becoming very much a lifeline for everybody.
Hot tubs category, permanently ban every creator who funnels their audience to Vansly and OnlyFans. And while we're at it, ban Hassan too. I'm sick.
I'd agree with that. Yeah, I'm sick of this. Get this off Twitch. Have some decency already. But yeah, basically I don't really want to continue on with this because, like I said, I just don't really care to continue to show her. But if a man were to be doing this, it would be absolutely banned immediately. And again, if you want to see the whole video, feel free to go check that out at Maury. I do have it linked in the description below because it is interesting to a certain extent. Because again, the CEO of the site doesn't care. So what are we really doing here, guys? Right? Who's in the suit? What does it matter? Honestly, it's just gross. Exactly. And that's just it. Yeah. Who's in the suit? It doesn't really matter, but I find it kind of funny to think about the CEO being the one that's in the suit. That'd be just gross. It actually turns my stomach just a little bit thinking about it. Anyway. All right. So again, this is Triggernometry, and Warren Smith, Secret Scholar Society is Warren Smith's channel. They are both listed in the description below. So please go check them out. Give them a subscribe. Warren has many subscribers now, and so does Triggernometry. So they're both good channels to check out. Let's see. Bandit says, at least it's a girl, doesn't make it much better. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. At least it doesn't make it much better. We definitely need to be pushing back against it either way. But if it was a big, burly, hairy-chested guy like the guy says in the video, it'd be kind of gross. Let's see. Brent just says, a good first step would be for Twitch to simply follow their own rules to start. Well, and that's another thing and it's probably covered in the video. Like I said, Maury does a good job of breaking it down, pushing back against it in his own way. But he mentions that there are multiple people that have been banned from Twitch for less, right? And yet this keeps happening for women. I mean, maybe not on Twitch. Maybe this is the first time. This is something I just came across. But it definitely needs to stop either way, right? So back to this. So this is Triggernometry with Warren Smith. So if you don't know who Warren Smith is, he is a teacher that was teaching and had been asked a question that was recorded, that went viral, and got him dispatched from that high school. So we'll go ahead and watch it. He explains that as well.
Enjoying a lot of your content. Before we get into opinions and debate and all that kind of stuff, tell everybody your story, because your story is very interesting.
Oh.
You're surprised by this fact.
Yeah, so I was teaching media, content creation, and a piece of content went viral, opened a door for YouTube.
Oh, so I for some reason haven't caught that, even watching this a couple times. So he was teaching YouTube content. So that's what he was teaching, and yet they let him go for doing exactly what he was teaching.
Like, oh, see how far this will
will
go. This is interesting. Oh, I knew there was a risk, but it didn't outweigh the cost of not trying, if that makes sense. Caught up kind of in a way that I thought there was an 80% chance that the school, given kind of skipped over this video and viral, or we said that, I knew they weren't happy with that. I thought there was like an 80% chance they just won't renew my contract. They did a slightly different move, got rid of me quickly, midday, kind of threw me into this weird limbo where now I have to focus on this. I was under 50,000 subscribers, wasn't financially viable.
Under 50,000 subscribers, wasn't financially viable. And there's guys out there that are doing it under 20,000 and up to 20,000 and a little bit more. Makes me nervous. 50,000 or more subscribers is not financially, or less is not financially viable. It's a little concerning. Help me out, guys. Beatrix says, not gonna lie, it kind of feels like it's Fahrenheit 451. No one really sits quietly with their thoughts anymore. For real though. That's a good point for sure. Dave says, no, it's worse than it's a girl. They should be protected, not whatever that was. That's actually a very good point, Dave. They should be protected. and allowed to be the moral high ground that they were before they were allowed to vote, right? Allowed to vote, forced to vote, as far as I'm concerned. Forced, guys. Beatrix says, I'm guilty too, just putting something on while I'm doing manial task. I know what that word is. I'm just a potato and can't. Wagon wheel, guys. You remember that? Thanks, Beatrix. Appreciate the engagement.
Scary time, worked out. Here we are.
So what was the school and what was the video?
So I don't want to dox the school because it would be unnecessary.
That's pretty respectable for him to say, especially because they try to get him to sign an NDA, which he'll explain later, but he doesn't, obviously. That's why he's able to talk. But for him to then turn around and say, I don't want to dox the school, I give him a lot of respect. I have a lot of respect for Warren before this, but that makes me give him a lot more respect.
Would take a Google, I imagine.
Oh,
no?
People have tried. Oh.
Okay.
Yeah, they don't want it.
So nobody knows which college you were teaching at?
This was a high school.
High school. Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
Right. So you asked me which schools. What was the other part of the question?
What was the video?
Oh, the video was with a student making the claim that J.K. Rowling, asking me, how have your views on Harry Potter changed given J.K. Rowling's bigoted opinions?
Okay.
There's a presupposition in there. All right, let's just run through that. And he ended up changing his mind, realizing he didn't have the evidence necessary for the claim.
Isn't that funny how that works out? It doesn't have the evidence for the claim, but they like to claim that, don't they? I have a lot of respect for the kid to change his mind after talking to Warren here about it, but that's interesting. The bigoted perspective, huh?
That was all it was. I was surprised that anyone watched it, to be honest.
Well, it was a great video because it was actually a very good example of someone applying critical thinking to an issue in good faith. And you could just watch through the logical fallacies that the person had in their head to ask the question in that way. And you kind of de-radicalized almost them in that moment. So why would that be such a controversial thing?
Well, there were many teachers not happy about it because they disagree on J.K. Rowling. And word would get to me. They don't say these things to your face, and nonverbal communication is extremely important in navigating these day-to-day games that occur. But I was working with another teacher, a music teacher, who had been collaborating with me on YouTube in the past already. We were fascinated by the technology, the medium, and he would tell me, man, they're not happy. They're looking for, just be careful. They're looking for any reason. And in the meantime, he and I had set up a
He knew they're basically already looking at him. He knew. Well, that would be, again, you're hired to teach people to do content, but discourage critical thinking. Well, what are we trying to teach the next generation at that point in time? Because content, unless it's just to dumb down the next generation, has to be critically thinking content. Otherwise, it's just void content. And that's why I started my podcast, is because I'm tired of the short form content. I want long form content out there. And the 20-minute videos that I do are even kind of a pain. But Bandit says Warren looks different in studio than he does on cam. Yeah. And it's funny because his videos are only like less than 10 minutes long or 13 minutes long or something like that. And there was a comment on this. I want to say somebody told me about it that said, Warren doing long form content. I bet he's asleep after 8 minutes or something like that. I can't remember exactly what it said, but I found that funny. He's just such a mellow guy. But yeah, I really like Warren Smith too, Beatrix. He's a good guy. Not that content. Jeez. Yeah, right. I'm not really sure what you're referring to, but not that content. Well, no, I know that not that content, but my point is like, if you're teaching someone to make content, wouldn't it be teaching them to understand how to make content, which would be then thus critically thinking about? It's like a video I've been sent about Mr. Beast, and I actually kind of want to cover that. You know, he has spent thousands, probably hundreds of thousands, on thumbnails, right? What thumbnail works the best for the algorithm? And we've gotten to the point where we just feed the algorithm. It's just all for the algorithm, and it's not critically thinking anymore. So to teach somebody to do content, I would think would be that. But I could be wrong. I'm a potato guy.
Space that's still that bookshelf that I record to this day. Every Friday, he would come over and he would be the voice off the camera. And he had opposite views from Romania. And so it would make for really good conversations. And there was something interesting about not having the person on camera, because I think it allowed the viewer to project themselves in a way. But anyways, so why would they not be happy? Also, just the response, I think, is primarily because at first, so the video goes viral. The next day, Piers Morgan wants to have me on for like a 15-minute quick thing. And I remember like, man, I'm going to have to run this through the chain of command with the school.
It's better to ask forgiveness than it is for permission, right? Better to ask for forgiveness than get turned down and not have the opportunity of Piers Morgan. Man, I'd probably do the same thing.
This is going to be, they're going to say no. So I just did it.
I just did it, he says. I just did it. Fuck it. I just did it. I do the same thing. Prentice says they want nuanced content, not critical thought content. No critical thought needed. There we go. Sorry, potato. Yeah, exactly. They want nuanced content. They want content to make you just want to watch and not think. And I want content to make you think. And that's probably why I won't have very much actual engagement, but we'll see what happens.
And I came in the next day. People, they already knew, because I remember the day before Piers Morgan came in, and I wasn't going to say anything. Maybe they won't notice. Everybody.
Maybe they won't notice. Yeah, it went viral, bro. Viral. To hit viral, you have to have like, what, 500,000 views or something like that, or 1 million views or something. Yeah, they knew to go viral. Yeah, they knew. Bandit says, schools generally hire people to teach subjects that admin can't teach. Why would they hire someone to teach what they believe and the teachers don't? That's a very fair point, Bandit. I appreciate the feedback.
They knew because Elon had tweeted it out. And so they had a meeting.
Oh, shoot. Elon tweeted it out. Yeah, everybody knew at that point in time. That didn't just go viral. That went freaking what? Armageddon?
After school, you're like, yeah, so this happened with Warren. He didn't break any rules. He's not in trouble. So then I do, all right. Then I do the Piers Morgan thing. And then I come into school and they're like, all right.
Oh, there we go. Here we go.
All right, we've got to meet with the lawyers. The head.
Got to meet with the lawyers after going on to Piers Morgan. Yeah, I can see that.
Honcho, the person in charge of the school, who's really just this business person, never at the school. We see her maybe once or twice a year. The principal was a nice guy. He was the one like.
Yeah, that's just it, Bandit. Is I want quality, not quantity. Sorry. I want quality of viewers, not quantity of viewers. I want the people in my circle to really want to be in my circle because I actually want to help you, right? I want to be here for as many people as I can be. And I appreciate you guys helping me get there as well. JB, appreciate the engagement. They had to fill the DEI quota and they figured out that he's not gay. So he had to go. That's probably true. Oh, man. Oh, poor Warren. That's funny. No one likes meeting with lawyers. For real, though. For real. I don't even like, even if it's a good thing, I don't like meeting with lawyers because that means I'm going to court. I like circles. I like money.
Dude, this is crazy. This is like, and he was a little bit like, look, man, if you're going to do Piers Morgan, you got to run up the chain of command. And like, I was like, okay. And he was like, but honestly, I would have done the same thing.
I'd have done the same thing. Yeah.
But he was reasonable in that sense, but this went above his head. So I meet with the lawyers and they're on conference call.
Hardwired. No. Jesus Christ. No, you stay. I like turtles. I like turtles too. Turtles are good. Turtles are cool. There we go. Man, today's been a day.
Well, you didn't break any rules. They literally said, congratulations. You're probably going to want to keep making things. You seem to enjoy it. I hope you don't make any mistakes. That was their line.
I hope you don't make any mistakes. That was their line. They don't tell you what his mistake is going to be. They just say, I hope you don't make any mistakes. What the fuck? Like,
So,
It's kind of mafioso, isn't it?
Exactly.
there are aspects of this that are eerily.
Seriously though, this gets wild.
Like we can get into it if you want, but very strange that people like you're making this up. It's crazy.
So let's talk about that. Like I hope you don't make any mistakes, you know, be a shame.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah.
So let's talk about that aspect of it.
In what way?
Well, you were saying there's some stuff that you could share.
Yeah.
That people wouldn't believe.
That was out. So after I was thinking about this incident where the teacher that I had been collaborating with, he was like my best friend at the school.
Yeah.
We got along really well because our content, the subject matter was very similar. We shared interests, camera technology, both fascinated with it. And we'd be making all these promotional videos for the school to go online. So maybe
they're doing everything to promote the school and they freaking do this to him. What the hell? Oh man, that's sad. Hey, birds aren't even real. Appreciate your engagement. Good to see you. Good to see you. So this guy, if you don't know who Warren is, definitely go check his channel out. He calls himself the Secret Scholar Society, and he's an old. So we're kind of learning about his origins right now. So he's an ex high school teacher that had a discussion with someone about J.K. Rowling's take on, I think it was trans, that thing, and he's against J.K. I don't know which one it is. Sorry guys, I'm a potato. Anyway, long story short, he gets in trouble for having that discussion because it gets recorded and then put online and it goes viral. So we're learning about the origins of him right now. So if you don't know about him, in the description, his channel is there. Go check him out for sure. Good to see you though. Good to see you. Let's see, JB. Yeah, it sounds like mafia speak. Seriously, this gets crazy. This gets crazy.
a month goes by before I get fired, and he's warning me about all this stuff. And I get fired, and it's like something had switched, and I anticipated this as well. I knew that they were going to sit him down and be like, you can't keep doing this with Warren. Like, he's dead to us. It was like I was deleted. Like
that, again, the mafia, like this gets crazy. Yeah, absolutely. Birds aren't even real. I appreciate your engagement, man. I hope you stick around and watch it because it's pretty good.
It was very like you don't exist. It's very strange. No contact. But all of he helped me set up.
Bandit, for real though. He looks like he just graduated high school himself. Seriously, he looks so young. So poor guy, like he weighs what, 90 pounds soaking wet.
Space. So a lot of his equipment's in that space.
Again, I like Warren. I'm definitely not dogging on this guy. He's a brilliant guy. Again, if you don't know who he is, check his channel out. Hey, Pharmacat, thank you very much for the engagement. It's good to see you. I appreciate you being here. I hope you're doing well. It's been a bit. Again, good to see you.
A week goes by, and he texts me. He texted me the day after. He's like, I heard the news, because I was like escorted out.
Really?
Yeah. And so I had no I couldn't say goodbye to anybody. It was.
Wait, well, hold on. Maybe I'm lost in the
Which remark? Apprentice, which remark? Resemble that remark. Yeah, Mr. B, yeah, he is pretty based. He is a good guy. He has some good takes. He has some takes that are like kind of but he's been really good about being open-minded as well.
timeline. You do this video about J.K. Rowling with a student.
Yeah.
They say, don't make any mistakes.
Right.
Did you then make a mistake?
Yeah.
What was your mistake?
I did the same thing again with a different student, but I took more. So teaching media, I have a list of who has the clearances, who has signed the releases, the parents. And we had another conversation like, oh, this one's kind of interesting. This might work. We had been making the content in my house because we were like, man, we don't want any more heat with the school. So let's just do it all at the house. But this one exchange, I was like, this is interesting. It was about J.K. Rowling, a student claiming she was racist. And we knew
Yeah, Bandit, I agree. Just giving him crap, right? We like who we like, we usually give the most crap to, right? If you don't like somebody, you don't care if they're going down the wrong road, it doesn't matter. But if you like somebody 90% of the time, you're going to want to try to help sway them into the right path, right? There's been many times that I wish I had more people around me more people that I slip up and say something stupid that I've been doing in my private life or whatever, so that they would catch me and I wouldn't have had to go through the bullshit that I have gone through to learn the lessons that I've learned. To bring me here to share my lessons and hope to get you away from those lessons of your own, right? To help you learn from the other man, be the wise ones, not the dumb one like I was, right? Leia, good to see you. Good to see you. Appreciate the engagement. I've been lurking. I just had to finish my 3-part reply to Alter right quick. Oh, Alter, that guy. I like Alter a lot, but he definitely likes his position and he's sticking to it, boy howdy. We need to get on an actual debate so that we can get people's minds swayed and not just continue to beat our head against the wall, right? If birds aren't real, how do you explain the Western omelet? That's a good point, Mr. B. That's funny. Yeah, birds. So there's a theory. For those that don't know, there's a theory that birds are drones, basically, that every bird has been replaced by a government drone. Now, where I have seen a good amount of birds that I know are real, I have had my suspicions at times. There are some interesting theories about it for sure. I'm not going to say I know. I'm going to lean either way. Hey, don't call it art. Good to see you. Oh, hey, it's live. Hey, Potato. Yeah. Every Sunday, 2 to 4, I'm live, or at least until 4. Most of the time, it goes later. It seems like. Anyway, if I don't like you, I'll just avoid you. If I like you, I'll try to build you up and talk shit to you. Yeah, I do the same thing, Dave. If I like you, I'll try to build you up. But in order to build you up, you've got to be able to take the shame, right? It's been hard for me. I'm not going to lie. But there's a certain level of ego, right, that we have to get over, and we have to be able to accept that shame. You can't take offense. Like, you can't give offense. Sorry, you cannot give offense. We were just talking about this in my Discord just the other day. You cannot give offense. You can only take it, right? I try my hardest. I'm not going to say I succeed, but I try my hardest to not take offense to things. And that's the biggest thing about thinking critically, is you've got to be able to take the feedback and think about it on a deeper level.
Audience, this is what the audience wanted. And I had the clearances, and so I shared it on X, I think, but I was like, the lighting was atrocious, and so I ended up.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, it's the pigeons that are under that theory, right? If I remember right, it's been a long time since I read that rabbit hole, but I believe it's the pigeons that are unreal, that are the drones, right? I don't know. I don't know. I'm not saying that they are. I'm not saying that they're not, because again, I've seen a lot of things that I go, that actually kind of makes sense. Let's see. Leia says, have you all seen owl legs? When they're lifted up or shaved? What the Thanks for that feedback.
Deleting it. The school took that as evidence that I knew I was doing something wrong, and I was trying to cover my tracks. That was the lawyer speak that came at me later. But they sat on that for like 3 weeks, hoping I would do it again. I found out later. Like, they could have told me, hey, this is what we're talking about, like, make these adjustments, but they were waiting for something to use. It was clearly a tactical. So that would be the mistake, even though.
So they don't you do anything that we will not like, but we're not going to tell you what that is, so that you do it so that we can let you go. Like, so he explains in a little bit that this is a private school. It's not a public school. So they have different regulations that they have to stick to, that they can do things differently. So a lot of things that they're doing may seem shady, that they get away with all the time, I guess. But is it something that we should be allowing? And if it isn't something we should be allowing, how do we push back against something that is a private school, right?
I was like, so when they pulled me in the office, I was like, did you talk to the student? Did you talk to his parents? I did more than I've ever done. Like, the steps, like, yeah, there's this new step though. You have to ask so-and-so and I had 2 sets of supervising principals, because it's divided into, well, you didn't check with this person, so you're gone. And they made it very clear, like, you can either accept it now that we want to get rid of you for YouTube because it's not just, and I get that in a way. It's like, I get that. Or we can conduct an investigation and get back to you in 3 days. Like, you haven't talked to the parents or the student even that you're worried about? Like, the student doesn't care. Like, okay, let's wait. And then they kind of, all that means, and anyone listening to this, if you find yourself in a similar situation, force them into admitting what they're doing. Be like, okay, you're firing me now then. I'm not.
Yeah, make sure that they give you the reason at that moment as fast as possible in any situation, whether it be school, whether it be a job. If they're trying to let you go, get them to put it on record, basically, so that you can fight it if it ends up being something stupid, right? Because like he's just about to say, they didn't really have a whole lot on him. They were just trying to make it seem like it was a bigger deal.
Giving you 3 days.
Oh, sorry, Beatrix. I highlighted that. My love language is sarcasm and honesty. If I'm polite to you, that's your sign we aren't close. If I'm polite to you, that's your sign. Yeah, exactly. That's pretty much, well, I can't say that. I'm pretty nice to everybody. But if I'm mean to you at any time, that means I like you. I guess. I don't know. Bandit, if you have to ask, is it something we should be allowing? The answer is no. That is actually a very good point. Bandit, appreciate the feedback. Hey, Abe, good to see you, man. Good to see you. I hope you're doing well. Appreciate the engagement. Oh, keep forgetting about you. I need to get ahead of you. I need to get hold of you and have one of my mods set up a time. No, we've been working on it. I need to get that done. All right. So Apprentice. Oh, so you're from the South. Nice. I think I might. No. Anyway, a Hardwire, Ohio, and many states with at-will employees they can fire you for no reason you can do shit about it. Yeah, exactly. That's just it. Is the at-will states, right to work states is the right to fire you, essentially. My love language is, well, never mind. Yeah. Right? Don't call it art. I hear you. God is good, Abe. Yes, God is good. And I'm well. I'm glad to hear that, my friend. Good to hear. Stupid speech to text. Don't call it art. I appreciate the engagement, guys. Can confirm with Dave if he gaslights you casually in conversation over things not so important. He really likes you. That's funny. All right. Anyway,
what they're going to do is try and go through everything and find something better and then point to that. So anyways, a week goes by. I recorded a video about it just to process my thoughts. It was really psychologically, it was one of the most difficult periods I've ever been through. Like, I came home that day and was just throwing up the whole day. I slept on the bathroom floor. And the next day I sat down and recorded something, waited. I didn't post it for like a week or two, and then I did. And J.K. Rowling reached out, which was a significant gesture for me, meant a lot. Anyway, so a week goes by, he needs to get his equipment. He comes over to the house, but he's talking completely different.
This is where it gets really like shady as hell, man. Like the mob-esque kind of talk. Yeah.
And he's like, you knew you weren't supposed to do that. I was like, dude, I talked to you about all of these things that you told me they were trying to. He was like, he was trying to, like, as though it's like I couldn't recognize him. He was like trying to insinuate that I had calculated this to purposely be fired.
Oh, Jesus, that's wild. Did you have your best friend? I understand that it's his best friend in the school, but to have your best friend question you like that, that's freaking wild. Hey, Barn, good to see you. Hope all had a blessed day. My goddaughter had her first communion today, and it was a wonderful mass and lunch afterwards. That's awesome. Good to see you, Barn. Appreciate you being here. And as always, appreciate your engagement or your efforts to keep us all fed. And as anybody in the chat does not know, Barn does have his own channel as well, where he does farm content, does shorts on farm content. Definitely, go check his channel out and give him some help too. Again, as always, appreciate you being here, man.
And it was like he was trying to get me on tape or something.
Yeah,
Like
I was going to say, it sounds like he was
recording.
wearing a wire.
Yeah.
That's what I meant by the mafioso thing. But
Yeah.
if I try and tell, I've only told the story once. If I tell it, people are like, they're like, this sounds like you're just making up a mob movie or something, but this is true. Like,
This is true. Like this would be wild. Not that I would not believe it. I would believe it if somebody were to tell me this. I have a really open mind though. Like I believe practically everything. I'm, the gullables on the ceiling and I look up. No, I'm not really serious about that. I actually have quite the discernment, but there are a lot of things that are just like, that actually kind of makes sense. I can see why they would do that. I can see why somebody would try to hide it, would try to get you to sign the NDA like he mentions here in a bit. Like, this is crazy.
he got his equipment out there and didn't say a word, which is another indicator that something was strange because he wasn't saying anything other than these things. And we went outside and he had a cigarette. We both knew this was the last time we were going to talk to, and we were like best friends.
Wow.
Yeah. And I was like, man, I don't think.
Again, best friend, and then never hear from them again or never talk to them or however he put that. I will never talk after this. To have your best friend again in the school, but I don't have friends. You guys are my friends. I have 2, maybe 3, and maybe just got another. I don't know. Anyway, long story short, so if I were to have a friend at school, that would be my friend. Like I would not want to lose them as a friend, and to have this kind of something be the reason to lose your best friend. It's wild. We need to stick together, guys.
Do you understand just the game they're playing here? I was like, and just be careful, like you as well, because this could happen to. And I had seen people get taken out. The principal who hired me was there for 8 years, devoted 8 years, and the assistant principal who hired me taken out on the same day 2 years prior.
Yeah, I think I heard about that before I saw this, but to have them both taken out on the same day a year prior would put me on edge for sure. Let's see. Miss K, appreciate the engagement. Good to see you. Good to see you. I hope you're doing well. And hope the little one's doing well. I know that you're expecting, and I always want to say congratulations because new life is always super important. Appreciate the engagement. Good to see you. Apparently not a best friend, shitty friend at best. That's actually a good point, JB. That's actually a very good point. If they're willing to not be your friend after that, on them, I guess. Dave, you are my friend. You guys are my friend. All of you are my friend. I'll do anything that I can for any one of you. Honestly, if I can, I will do anything I can. But there's a difference between having your friends online, like the Loneliness Engine, the video that I put out. Again, if you haven't checked out Blood Logos, that was done by him. Check his channel out. But that hits home every time I watch it, because we can have 1,000 servers, we can have 1,000 friends online, but we're still lonely. We still don't have that person to person. But as always, I will never change what I have now that I have this, because this is honestly what gets me by. You guys are, and I appreciate it.
And it was nonsensical reasons. They just will they have the ability, because it's not like a regular public school, they have the ability to force through outcomes however they want. It creates a very weird environment.
Oh, don't call her. You don't know who Warren is? Okay, so real quick, he was a high school a high school teacher who had a discussion with a student that the school didn't like. They let him go because of his takes and the way that this video with the student went viral. And so if you haven't seen him, if you haven't checked out his channel, go check his channel. It's in the description below. This video is linked directly. Go check this video out too. It's pretty good. But I appreciate the engagement. Stick with me if you will. Jess the Shepherdess says, well, since you offered, Tater, I've got some land to clear and a house to build. Yeah. If I could, I would for sure. That's what I do for a living. So, if I ever can, I would for sure. Sorry we aren't friends because I already adopted you. You are my precious potato. Thanks, Apprentice. You guys are all mine too. Whatever, spuds, whatever you want to consider yourselves. Miss K, absolutely. I appreciate you. I appreciate you guys so much. Bucket Button, good to see you. Good to see you guys. All right, let's get back to this.
Yeah, so and he left, and as he was walking out, I was like, hey, there's this one device that will allow me to continue to plug a mic in, this XLR adapter. Can I buy it from you? And he just handed it to me, didn't say a word.
Can I buy it from you? I again, respect to him for saying, can I buy that from you? Not can I get that from you or anything like that? Because for him to say, can I buy that from you? And then him turn around and just give it to him speaks volumes. It's certainly really cool to have a community like this online. And even though it's not the same as it is in person, it does help, especially for people like myself who spend long hours working by myself. Yeah, Barn. And that's the biggest thing is I need a community because I work for myself by myself all the time. I'm getting really dislocated, discombobulated, whatever you want to call it, because I don't have that community. And so I told myself I need a community. I've got to figure something out. So the online community is the best that I can get at this point in time, which in this area, I don't know if I'd really want much of the local attention because of the woke mind virus that's out there, right?
Car. And that's the last time I saw him. And then I get a text from the school a week later saying, hey, that he left this microphone. And we had gone through great lengths to make sure all this equipment was.
He left, and that's again a detail I missed the last time I was watching this. He left the microphone. So he gave him this adapter, just gave it to him, and then he left the microphone behind. That's a bit concerning.
Personal. So we're not crossing any lines.
And then, like he just mentioned, because I paused it, they went through great lengths to make sure that all of this material, all of this equipment was theirs. They weren't holding on to anything that the school should have. So this microphone, him leaving, was on purpose.
School contacts me and says, you have our microphones. We're going to use that as leverage for this negotiation where they send an NDA. They said, if you sign this NDA, we'll pay you the rest of what we owe you for the year. We'll pay you for the end of the month, but we'll pay you to the end of the year if you sign this NDA. I'll prevent you from ever talking about this.
And see, again, like the mob-esque kind of mentality and talk to speak. That right there, it would have, that should be a red flag. And it probably was for him because of the way he's talking. But we'll give you an NDA if you, or we will give you until the end of the year if you'll sign this NDA. That's a bad deal for sure. Don't Call It Art says it's annoying because social media isn't very social anymore. And that's my biggest issue. Again, part of the reason why I started my channel, because I wanted to find some way to make a different social community. Just like the Discord, that's why I love Discord so much, is because my channel or my server is different from all of the other servers out there. Well, not all of the other servers. I can't say that because I'm like part of like fucking 20 of them. And so I don't know hardly half of what's out there. But my point being is I'm trying very hard to make a different kind of social media with Discord. So if you're not part of the Discord, please join my Discord. And we're about halfway through. I'll probably be longer this stream, but I would like to start trying to hit that, grift, if you want to call it that. Because I do want to try to get something out of this. I do have a Patreon, a Cash App, Venmo, and PayPal. If you do like the content, I would greatly appreciate any kind of support that I can get. All I care about is the like, the view, the subscribe, and please ring that notification bell. And that's probably the last you'll hear of it for this stream. Ms. K says, I totally relate to that being same. How do you pronounce that? I don't know. Stay at home mom. My little Twitch community was my outlet, and people having a good small community is way better than having a super huge channel with people who don't care. And that's the thing is I want to be able to make it off of a small community. I don't know if that's possible because I make a decent amount of money on my day job. So I'm trying to keep that day job if I can possibly do that and get a crew together under myself and keep them working while I do my content to keep you guys interested in coming back and entertained, right? Are you not entertained? Thank you for that, Dave. Appreciate you pointing that out. Anyone who wants to be part of the Discord, if you aren't already, it's a blast. Apprentice, appreciate you saying that. It's only social if you are in the right tribe and pass the purity tests. That's true, Barn. Appreciate that. It's a trap. Yeah, for real. It is. I'll get you trapped there and you'll never want to leave ever again. Ha 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 ha.
Just go over it with a lawyer, like a person from they're very rushed on the phone. They want, do you have any questions? Yeah, I have a lot of questions. Sorry, click, like that kind of thing. Like, how am I going to afford a lawyer? I don't have any money, like, and they know that, so they think you're just going to sign it. And they insinuate that we'll make it so you can't teach. Essentially, we'll give you a good recommendation if you sign this thing. It would also give them control of some of the videos on the YouTube channel as well.
Yeah, that's another thing about whenever you're getting something like an NDA pushed onto you, or a care package because you're being let go, whatever the case is, especially if they're trying to give you something when they're letting you go, it's because they know that they're probably, I shouldn't say it like that, more than likely they know that they're doing something not like untoward, right? So they're trying to smooth it over. So you want to be careful about this kind of stuff for sure. But again, I'm glad that he didn't sign the NDA. He wouldn't be talking to us right now. He wouldn't have the, 600,000 subscribers or whatever he has. It's freaking wild.
So I did not sign it. Peter Boghossian helped me get a lawyer. Cost me, I think she went easy on me because she knew the predicament. So I think she gave me a break on the cost. Cost a couple $4,000 probably, which is probably a good deal for. She negotiated with them, and she's like, and she said to me, if I were you, I've never said this to a client. Normally clients come to me with these offers, these NDAs, I say, just sign it, because why do you need to talk about this? She's like, but this is strange. My advice to you would be to, if you can afford to not take, it was like $8,000, $9,000, but to me that was massive. She's like, if you can afford it, pass on it, don't do it. And I'm so glad I didn't. I wouldn't be talking to you right now.
What did that entire experience teach you about the education system?
I was talking to these guys about it too. There's a fear that I see at the college level and the high school level around the emotional impact of the students to be able to have these conversations. So like this Sam Richards, who I've worked with, and I do videos covering him sometimes where he's live streaming his college courses, and they do very well because people find it fascinating. He's very worried about getting shut down. I went down and spoke to his class, which is 500 students. And I was supposed to go down this month, but he just texted me the other day and said he has a meeting he's been summoned to by the provost, and he doesn't think they're going to get shut down, but that threat is always looming, and that's what they're going to use. If I told him this earlier on, I was like, it's going to be over the potential for hurt feelings. They will probably won't even be able to point to anyone where there is actual damage or anyone who really cares, because he's careful about which students he selects. They all know what they're doing before they do it. They understand it. But the school can still point to, and that's one of the things the school pointed to with me, is they said, okay, well, yes, but the student having something like, yeah, we didn't expect this to go viral, and yes, it doesn't break any rules, but when there's...
Yes, it doesn't break any rules, but it rubbed us the wrong way. We got the ick. What the fuck? I'm sorry. If it doesn't violate your rules, it's like the Twitch actually violating its rules. Like Bandit says, conservatives tried to maintain a presence on Twitch and we failed. That sucks. We need to try to get it back. If you want to be a Twitch streamer, let's raid Twitch. Maybe I need to start streaming on Twitch. We need to take it back. But yeah, Bandit, they're buying your silence in more ways than one when you sign an NDA. JB, 4K retainer, she did him no favors. 4K retainer. I can't remember. Yeah, Barn, I'm not sure if it was 4K total or if it was just a retainer. If it's 4K total, it could be either way for that matter. Let's see. What the authoritarian are failing to realize is it's still more profitable to maintain your free speech. No, let Twitch die. Okay, fair enough. Bandit, fair enough. Yeah, we need to maintain our free speech. But that does not entail the crap that's on Twitch and OF and the visuals and stuff like that. We need to try to find some kind of I don't want to say middle ground, something on the right side, the correct side, the Christ side of that middle ground. We don't want the middle ground.
Millions of people looking at it, it could take a toll on him. I was like, yeah, but also they're almost all positive because he was reasonable in the video. I think he was a very mature student, a very intelligent student.
And it's also as well, you couldn't see what the student looked like, which is a massive part when it comes to child safety.
Right. Logically, it would be the same thing as if that music teacher made a song with one of his students, they post it on YouTube, just the audio, and it goes viral. It's like, that's technically it's just a voice, but you don't like the content of the words.
When you buy seafood, what do you worry?
Nope.
I was both professors.
Where I think it was 2016 where you saw the real flourishings of woke, post-Trump. So let's talk about that because that's fascinating as well.
Yeah, I still teach at Emerson. I teach a filmmaking course, and that was originally my plan, was to hopefully be a professor at college. My parents were both professors. Academia seemed like a great job, and it is. It's got great benefits. But what I saw there in 2016 it shook me for sure. I wasn't.
So I'm curious, if anybody in the chat has any idea on where else I should be streaming, because if we should just let Twitch die, I don't want to start streaming on Twitch and help them out. So where else should I stream? The green platform and X, or what? I only have probably a bandwidth for one other one, but we'll see. I don't even know if I have the bandwidth for one other one. I don't have an error message right now, thank God. But last Sunday or last Thursday, it was Thursday when it was buffering real bad. That was stressful, guys. I don't know if I could do that again. Fuck it button says LOL LMAO. Nope. Yeah. Fair enough.
Into any, I discovered the space as well, Jordan Peterson, and I was fascinated by it because there was certainly a problem with what I was encountering at school. Students, over 300 students marched into a faculty assembly claiming that Emerson was racist and with literally a list of demands. And the administration kowtowed to it. They gave in. And
well, of course they did, because the woke mind virus is so freaking strong these days. It's strong with this one, right? The woke mind virus is strong. Let's see. So don't stream on Twitch. If you only have bandwidth for 2, use YouTube and the green platform. Good to know. Good to know. Appreciate the feedback there. Don't call it art. Yeah, I'm definitely seeing the benefits of the green platform for sure. Honestly, Twitch is trash. Could focus on YouTube and the green platform. Maybe Kick, but that's kind of trash too. Fair enough, Ms. K. I appreciate the engagement and the feedback. I've heard about Kick, but I don't know if I've ever even watched anything on it. So I use Meld, and it restreams to other platforms for free. That's awesome. Meld. I'll have to check that out. Appreciate that, Hardwire. Those seem like the only legitimate options. Any others seem like the place they banned G-gens like Sneeko go to. That's fair. Appreciate the engagement, guys. Twitch is blue sky. It makes more sense for it to die than try to gain ground on an area that if we took it over, we would have to rebuild. That's actually a good point, Bandit. Appreciate that. Fuck it button says, CAD heard Constantine start talking look over like this is it's an ad. Nope. Oh, I forgot about Kick. Yeah, that was the other one, wasn't it? Wasn't there one like KIK and then Kick? Isn't like two different? Anyway, sorry. I'll shut up now.
That was the next day, the week following that, I was taking a pedagogy course with the dean of undergrad, teaching it. And we had to devote the 4-hour class this week to discussing the systemic racism at Emerson. And the head of the Social Justice Center, which is a literal office, literal people, you could do anonymous bias reports. they were sitting in, and the white students were told to surrender our white privilege for the duration of the 4 hours. And I thought, that's so weird.
How does one surrender their
I
white
don't
privilege?
know. I would love to have
Like he just said, how does one surrender? Like, okay, let me just pull out my white card and give it to you. Now I'm like not like white. Like, what the fuck? I'm sorry. That was wild.
a discussion with them, but they won't.
They won't. Of course they won't.
And it's worth bearing in mind to people who don't know Emerson. Emerson is an incredibly left-wing college.
Yeah, it's extremely left-wing. I didn't meet a single conservative professor at the time.
Oh, really? That actually good to know. I appreciate that feedback. Streaming to X and Facebook, they're making it complete complicated, like new stream keys for every show. That would be. I don't got time. Nobody got time for that shit. I sure as hell don't. I make a new stream key every like 4 or 5 streams. Like, yeah, Miss K, this shit's wild, super wild. What the hell?
There was one student I can remember from grad school that was libertarian.
So that being the case, you think, why is it that the most progressive left-wing, one of the most progressive left-wing schools in the country is suddenly racist or white supremacist? Or it just doesn't make any sense.
Well, it's a captivating narrative that creates an emotional satisfaction. It also gives the students the ability to make demands of their professors they couldn't otherwise make. So I was asked to teach my first.
JB. That's right. You don't want me to be white? I'll just be farting all the time. How about that? Hardwire, I have wicked nasty cold, so I've postponed my show for tonight. Oh, okay. Fair enough. But yeah, if anybody, again, if you don't know, Hardwire has his own show. He has his own show that typically goes on Sundays after my show, but today it doesn't look like it'll be happening, just so you guys know. But definitely check his channel out so that you give him some love too. Fuck It Button says, yeah, green platform is neat. Not familiar with many of them, but I have heard Kick pays almost all of the funds for all the donation types. Interesting. I think I might have heard that too, actually, now that you mentioned that. I think I've heard that Kick pays pretty well, and that's why. It's like the only reason that people stream to it or something like that. I definitely need to figure out my internet because I can't have last Thursday happen again. Okay, it's obvious in pedagogy, but it explains why conservatives have been drummed out of every institution of higher education. Yeah, Bandit, and that's the thing, is we need to hold our ground somehow. Anyway, get back to this.
Class screenwriting.
Shut up now.
And the teacher that was
Shut up, potato.
was signing it to me, I was her TA. She goes, Warren, okay, you're about to do this, so remember, hold the students accountable. So for example, Warren, I have this one student doesn't show up to class, doesn't do any assignments, and I'm going to give her the grade she deserves. You need to do the same thing. The protest happens. I'm about to teach it, and we have a follow-up meeting. You remember, Warren, what I was saying about that student? She got named on the website. It was a Facebook group, #EmersonSoRacist, accusing of microaggressions, claiming she made a microaggression, which doesn't require evidence because it's subconscious. It's a microaggression.
Yeah, how can you control your subconscious and if you get kind of concerned about something, you're going to micro expression. It's just going to happen. Some things you can't hold people accountable for. Some, very few. Hardwire, when I figure out how to use Video Ninja for panels, I would love to have you on the show sometime. I would love that. Yeah, for sure. Hit me up. I'd love to come on anybody's channel and help them out, as well as bringing people onto my channel. As always, like I've mentioned before, I have open panels on Thursday evenings, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where anyone is welcome to join. Right now, it takes place in my Discord. Probably be using something else eventually, but if you would like to be part of them, join my Discord so that you can be part of the open panels. And again, if anybody would like to collaborate, I would be happy to collaborate with most anybody. There have been a few people that have asked, and I don't know if I've necessarily been up to that kind of collaboration, but I am usually open to collaborations. Let's see. It's 95% creators, 5% Kick on donations on Kick. That's actually not too bad. What is it on YouTube? Is like 10% or something like that. Streamlabs is 3%, I think. Whatever talks about is what. So Bandit says, pedagogy is what he's talking about, how teachers teach. Oh, okay. Thank you very much for that, because I'm a potato and I had no idea what that word was. I was going to say wagon wheel for a second. I prefer using microaggression. Yes, of course, we got to go with the microaggression, right? Don't call it art. Thank you very much for that. All right, shut up now.
More, and I was really wrong about that, because that student, I forgot how difficult it is. She told me about how difficult it is to be black at Emerson. So I can't hold her to, insinuating I can't hold her to account for not coming to class, because there's not enough professors that are black, according to them. They don't see themselves reflected in the student body, even though there are many black students and black professors.
That's so crazy. So what it's effectively saying is you can't uphold academic standards because somebody is of a different color.
That's what that student was pushing for, and many do. It allows them to push for that. So if people are going to do what's in their interest if you give them the ability to.
Hey, Tyler TV, good to see you, man. And again, if you're in the chat, you don't know, Tyler has his own channel. Definitely check him out. Good guy. I do a collaboration with him as well every once in a while. We have Friday night debates. I don't know if we have had a Friday night debate in a while. I've been super busy and haven't been able to be there. But definitely, if you like to debate and you're more of an amateur, we have Fast Debate Fridays. Shoot, Tyler, I'm sorry. Anyway, long story short, it's on his channel. We definitely want to get more of those set up. Good to see you. Good to see you. Hope you're doing well, man. Hey, Kyle, good to see you. Good to see you. Man, if the leaders in charge of Emerson had even a modicum of backbone, they wouldn't have had caved to the demands of the students, and only leverage the students have is bad PR on Twitter. LOL. It's good to see you. Thank you for the engagement. And yeah, I agree. We definitely need to have a backbone on a lot of different things than we do. Leia Bobea, we should collaborate, Tater, perhaps on a spicy topic, something we have hot takes on, and bring the offended in to enrage and boost the algorithm. After all, it's a hungry hippo. Yeah, Leia, I would actually, I don't know why I haven't thought about that. That would be actually pretty dope to collaborate with you. We should definitely get together sometime. Pedagogy. Thank you very much. Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks. All right. Anyway, I'll shut up now. Good to see you, JB.
So it doesn't surprise me in the least that they took this narrative and ran with it.
And why do you think colleges cave to this kind of thing?
Because, well, so the pressure, the culture that exists within this high-level, highbrow academic elite, where they all strive to be as sensitive. Here's an example.
Tyler, that has probably got to be the bane of my existence. There is Home Depot and Lowe's. Getting material where I love my job and I don't necessarily like to have to work all the time. Going to those stores, and especially when they don't have something that you need, is frustrating as all hell. Oh man, sorry to hear that, brother. Good to see you though.
One teacher didn't cave, and I have the letter that he wrote. He sent an email. I think he sent it to the whole school, which is bold. I have it though. I don't remember. The president, he said we shouldn't be kowtowing to a mob, essentially. Well-articulated, long email. The president to respond, yeah, I'm pretty sure that teacher did not blast it. He sent it to the president of the college. The president countered by blasting. Anyone with an Emerson email address received this email. So I have both letters. And it was essentially applying that pressure that you are going to be ostracized. Yeah, you have tenure, but you're cooked. If you go down this road, you don't represent our values that we uphold and we're striving for. How dare you? These students are brave enough to stand up and tell us about their victimization and the subconscious turmoil that they're going through every day. How dare you treat it in such an insensitive way? And that was a long email, but that's how I would summarize it.
Because from what you're talking about with Emerson to what's happening in the school, it just sounds.
Thanks for posting that, Apprentice. Yeah, if you don't know Tyler TV, if you're not part of that, definitely go to that link in the chat real quick and subscribe, and then come on back, and we'll continue with this. I want to jump forward here. It says the death of open debate, so we're going to jump to that, and then I'll probably jump forward to the think critically. And again, this is in the description below, check this video out. I just, I don't want to necessarily keep you guys so late. I know that there's other streamers that sometimes come on. Since Hardwire isn't going to come on tonight, I know that there's other ones that might come on, and I don't necessarily want to keep you away from them. So we'll jump through this here real quick. But I just went and finally bought a trailer. Tired of always borrowing one when I need it. Spent more, got an all aluminum one, so it'll likely outlast me. Yeah, Apprentice, I'm sorry, Hardwire. I just actually bought one myself not too long ago. I should have went with aluminum because they're so much lighter, and they'll pay for themselves in gas. I can almost guarantee it. Let's see. Fuck a Button says, yep, I'm often looking for stupid small pieces when I go, and usually leave pissed off after confusing a few workers. Yeah, right. I know that feeling.
But Emerson has a high representation in China. Every year they send ambassadors over. They would select a student ambassador to go over for the convention in China. And I remember because the dean also had a high presence in China. She talked about how many times she'd been there. But I remember challenging one day in cultural media studies. I have the textbook still, and chapter 1 is by Karl Marx, talking about can we control the internet? And I was like, well, we should ask, how's it working in China? Like, what do you guys think? And I said it just like that. He said, no, you can't talk like that or talk about that. It's like, this is a college level, this is a graduate level class. You want to analyze whether we control the internet, but we can't talk about real world examples because it's culturally insensitive is what he was insinuating. It's a little example, that one stands out in my mind vividly. But there was a lot of nonsensical encounters with professors that, it just gets under your skin. And then that drive, when you do see an alternative like Jordan Peterson, who I think put his finger on the source that you're describing, what led to this, you could describe largely as postmodernism.
Well, what I find extraordinary, Warren, is that you can kind of understand that in a society of social media and all this kind of stuff, you kind of go, well, maybe there's some sense to people being a little bit more careful about expressing, controversial things. Maybe, if you work for a big company, everyone doesn't need to know your political opinions because you're going to come into work, blah, 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 blah. But the one place that you would think you would encourage people to explore difficult and controversial ideas is university, is college, because that's what it's for.
It's not even political opinions. If we're having a conversation about can we control the internet, that's not political. We're engaging with the logic of the claim.
Yeah.
And it's one thing I totally understand, especially at the high school level. Yeah, I don't like it when I see left-wing teachers preaching about Trump in class. I wouldn't do that from the right. It's another, if you're going to have a discussion, or if a student asks you to explain, which literally happened to me, what is the difference between the left and the right, essentially, or what is communism? You can do it in a fair and balanced way.
Yeah, well, the left are good people, and
at the college level, that's what you're going to get.
Right. But I guess what I'm
the left are good people.
getting at is, I think it's obvious to anyone who understands the pipeline of how you go from school to college to work to life, that this is the one part of your life that was specifically carved out for you to think about things, to explore different ideas, to challenge and be challenged. And that's now been taken away effectively, right?
Yeah, so that's the thing. Is again, college is designed to make you think, to teach you how to be a productive member of society. If they're literally teaching you to be a bump on a log, to just do random ass content, what are we really teaching the next generation? What kind of thinking process are we actually trying to give to the next generations in our colleges? So we need to actually start to contemplate what's actually best for the people on the next generation. Because open debate, like it says, the death of open debate, we need to get back to a dialectical type of debating style. And I mentioned this multiple times before, where we do have a room for blood sports debate. It's fun, it's exciting, it's entertaining. We need something to be able to move the conversations forward and not just beat our heads against the wall constantly. Where one side will not give, the other side will not give. So we have to be able to find something that actually helps them understand. And you can't do that when you're heated in the debate.
So what do you think the impact of that is on society?
It's a big question. I wish I had a really good answer to that. I think it's what we're seeing play out. Yeah, it just creates more of a tribal sense because everyone coming out of that system, out of that college that I've encountered personally, I can assure you there's no one coming out with a different point of view because it's being hammered so hard. And I was hired to be the personal videographer of, this is how I made money as a student, to the dean I was referring to with the presidents in China. So she would hire me to go in when there's a public speaker or someone coming, and I would do a promotional video, edit it quickly and get it out in 2 days. And so I got to see, Emerson has a very prestigious journalism program. And I got to see the people they were coming in, they were bringing in to speak, and they would bring in a conservative. This was when Trump was in the election. There was not, every conservative they brought in, I still have the video, the footage too of some of this. Every single speaker was still anti-Trump, the conservatives. They were explaining how he's not a real conservative.
That's freaking wild. Where I don't necessarily know what a conservative is these days, considering what are we conserving, guys? What are the conservatives these days conserving? Because it doesn't seem like we're trying to conserve the actual things that work. We just seem to be trying to conserve the things that feel good at the time. I don't know. Fuck Button says they are good people. We just disagree on what good means. Words don't have meaning. Don't have meaning anything. They're good. My demon. Tomato, tomato. Yeah, for real. Don't have meaning anymore, apparently. Yeah, there we go. Don't Call It Art says college used to be where you go to experiment with ideas. Now it's where you go to experiment with drugs, smecks, and alcohol. Isn't that the frickin' truth? Don't Call It Art. Don't Call It Art. Apprentice says don't call it art, and they spend at least a decade making movies to drill that point into the collective psyche. Yeah, what is it? Van Wilder, he spends 7 years in college, and it, you know, that's an achievement in that movie. Don't get me wrong, it's a funny freaking movie, but yeah, there's a lot of movies that basically hold, you know, staying in school for a long amount of time in high regards, and that's not. No, you should be wanting to get through school, through the education process as quickly as possible so that you can help society, not continue to play off of society as a student that's usually getting paid to be a student, right?
It was incredible. The most nuanced, interesting speaker was a Trump impersonator, though. I have some great footage of that where Rolling Stone was doing a thing on him. He was getting some traction. I don't know where he went, but he came in and laid into the students being like, no one thinks what you're doing is cute. You all are striving. You think you're victims. And he was a graduate of Emerson in the comedy program. And that was probably the most interesting speaker I saw. That would be the closest thing to a nuanced take that I would.
And how was that received?
The students were kind of left aghast. Yeah, they just were kind of speechless. But I think he knew what he understands the nature of comedy is to be bold.
Yeah.
He's not afraid to do that. I commend them. There wasn't shouted off the campus like you would expect. But had he not been in such a prestigious role or just been covered by Rolling Stone and been backed as a personal friend by the dean, he would have been in probably a different response.
Well, one of the interesting things about what you're saying is this kind of environment, it creates people who actually can't think, which is why it's kind of impressive that the video you did about J.K. Rowling, with your help, actually could think. Because increasingly we see this now.
Well, and it goes further than that. The fact that the kid was able to think enough to challenge a teacher. Yes, with his help, he was able to come to an understanding and change his point of view, but he was willing to talk to a teacher and challenge the teacher's views and try to challenge his own views. So that actually speaks volumes for that kid in more ways than just one, because again, like we've talked about multiple times, the public school system is there to make workers. It's not there to make critical thinkers like we need them to be. We should be pushing for critical thinking.
On the internet as well, it's like people are incapable of separating ideas from people, and the way that debates are now increasingly conducted. I mean, as we're sitting here recording this won't go out for a while, but there's literally some of America's most prominent journalists saying that they have micro penises online. And it seems to me like that, I mean, that's kind of a direct continuation of this, like where you no longer discuss any of the issues, and it's just you're on the wrong side, you're on the wrong side of history, you're the other, and what gets lost is the actual conversation.
Yeah, so I had other clips that I wanted to cover, but this was an hour and 2 minutes long. You should be able to see the timer, maybe not. But anyway, long story short, it's an hour and 2 minutes long, so we probably won't be able to cover the whole thing because I'm only a half an hour into it, and I'm just about to the end of my stream time that I normally do. We'll probably go a little bit late. But long story short, we need to be critically thinking, right? The clip that I'm probably going to cover at a later time is Rachel Wilson. She goes on to the Whatever podcast and talks to the young ladies that come on to the Whatever podcast. And one is just absolutely spewing the same propaganda that she's been told from CNN or whatever it is. And Rachel's asking her for proof and she can't give it. She hasn't critically thought through the process and actually found her own evidence. She just took word of mouth. And that's where it comes into the issue. We need to be thinking for ourselves. So we're going to jump to this, let's see, critical thinking part, and then we'll see where we can get to before the end of what I have time-wise. Get past that ad there. All right, so we'll get into that.
For me, the way I approach it, if I'm being quiet about something, the way I would articulate is like, I haven't seen anything I have not seen adequate evidence to indicate that Erica Kirk killed Charlie Kirk. Like, that's how I would address it.
Yeah, that's another thing is, I don't know exactly what to think with the whole Charlie Kirk and Erica Kirk thing, but there's a lot of theories that he was like, I don't know what's going on with this. So we definitely need to be careful on what kind of hearsay that we believe.
Yeah, I think that's
fair. I would just leave it at that. Like, I don't know Candace.
But on my point, the point I'm making is something else, Warren. And again, I don't really particularly care about having a go at these people who are supposed to call Candace out or those people or whatever. I'm not that interested. I'm just making a broader point, which is if you are, let's say, on the right and someone on the left made these comments about Charlie Kirk, the response would be immediate and strong and thorough and probably vicious.
Yeah.
And yet when someone on your team does it, you kind of go, oh, I think attacking Charlie Kirk's widow is wrong.
Yeah, that's going back to that. We can't separate the character from the narrative.
Right.
That's,
And I guess the point I'm trying to make is I don't think it's possible to play a team game while also being true to the facts.
I agree. I don't play team, even if it looks like it. I don't play team. I think Jordan Peterson was right to call, and this has always stayed with me. I don't like identity politics on the left or the right. Maybe it's because I was just listening to my favorite debate driving down here with Stephen Fry. I mean, it's one of the simple debate, but it's one of the most powerful. And that was the message. It's like, when does the left go too far? The right goes too far. I'm not going to, yes, and it goes deep to psychology, evolutionary psychology, why we band together in these ways, but it's a foolish game, I think.
Well, one of the things that happens is I think in the podcast and content creation YouTube space, what we're talking about, which is ideas and politics, they get meshed together. And so you have people who are talking about ideas, and sometimes they're talking about politics, and we do this too. And then those two things come together, and I think it's quite confusing. It's like, are you talking about ideas or are you talking about politics? Because they're just different games. And I think a lot of the discrepancy comes from that, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's like the difference between the first principles and how those underlying dynamics versus how they manifest into politics.
Yeah, and that actually leads good into Hardwire's point here. It says schools used to teach kids to get by in life. Now they come out of school completely clueless, full of blame for everything being anyone else's fault but their own. Again, we need people critically thinking things through. Fuck a Button says the good news about people entertaining or in line with Candace is that all this point of never having a single fact or viable piece of info, you instantly know who to not listen to and to mock. Yeah. Speaking of that, so I want to cover it because it's so freaking obnoxious. But Brian Shapiro, he went on with Jesse Lee Peterson, and holy cow, Jesse Lee is a good troll. It was hilarious. But Brian, he just holds on to these pieces of info and gets mocked for it, and then thinks that it's a good thing, thinks that people love him because of how much he gets gets engagement and attention, even though that's like the bad kind of engagement. I guess, no press is bad press these days, I guess, but I personally wouldn't want to be known for what Brian Shapiro is known for. It's wild. Again, another clip that I would want to cover if I had time, but probably won't have time today. Candace is psychologically fascinating. The whole trip she took us down after Charlie has been wild and interesting. Damaging, of course. Oh dear, the damage. But interesting nonetheless. Apprentice, fair enough. I did not keep up on it. I couldn't handle it myself. I loved Charlie too much to have his name smeared through the mud like she did. Erica, there's some definitely concerns I have for that lady, but more for her own soul than anything else. Fuck a Button says, LOL, it is interesting to see the insanity people can fabricate, but disgusting that it is apparently very popular. Seriously, though. And again, just a shout out to everybody that stuck with me here. I really appreciate you guys. We've got a good viewership today, and I really appreciate that.
I mean, I agree with you on that for sure. Yeah.
I think part of the worry is when we talk about education is, because I used to be a teacher, so everyone can drink now. I mention it every episode.
That's right,
yeah. Had to put that in so that everybody could drink that does the drinking game, I guess, huh?
I like it where it's like, yeah, you do. But
where's your mum from again?
Venezuela. Anyway, 2 drinks. But one of the things that you do as a teacher is you disseminate information, give them information. Arguably, the most important part of teaching is not the information aspect of it, you're teaching skills.
Yeah.
So when I was a drama teacher, what you were doing is you were teaching skills to kids so they knew how to be creative. They knew how to structure and create improvisations, long-form improvisations, plays, how to be more realistic on stage, etc. What you're doing is teaching people how to think critically.
And that is extremely important. Again, the critical thinking, the ability to say that doesn't seem right or that does seem right, and this is why, right? We need to be able to explain why it doesn't fit with reality so that people can actually understand. So it's not just, hey, this doesn't work, but why? I like it this way. So why can't it be this way? This gives me pleasure. Again, I'm not one to speak. Trust me. I'm just trying to show you what not to do in your life, I guess. Don't Call It Art says anyone who listens to Candace deserves what they get. That's fair. Apprentice says, fuck a button, too true, which has been interesting in and of itself. The enlightening about the people who interact with it every day. Yeah, seriously though. All right.
The problem comes if we don't do that. These skills are not intuitive. They have to be learned.
That's interesting. Yes, because I think the recognition of logic is intuitive, but you're right, because this is going counter against what we were just describing about that tribal evolutionary impulse to band together for survival. And but yes, breaking away, pattern disruption is well, it's a pattern disruption. Most people aren't going to do it. The majority, I think about it like this, the majority of people are going to be like water. They're going to take the path of least resistance. It's easier to be foolish than wise. There's risk that comes with breaking away from the group. I sat down with Dr. Peterson. He described it as being the zebra with like orange stripes, right? Like the reason zebras blend in is because they all have the same stripes. White and black stripes aren't going to cause you to blend into the grass. You're blending to the herd. I think you are on to something there. That's what I'm trying to delve into with what I've been writing and trying to put it into to words.
Because when I look at some of these kids, and you look at some people who debate these kids on campuses, and you see the kids get angry and upset, and then invariably the comments on YouTube is like, oh, kid gets owned or whatever else. And I go, actually, I think we all now need to be a little bit more adult. I've been guilty of this. I hold my hands up and go, it's not the fault of the kid. It's the fault of the system producing it. Because if it's just one kid being produced who can't argue, can't think critically, you can go, well, the kid wasn't listening, or there may, maybe they weren't a good student, or whatever it may be. But the fact that we're producing legions of people who can't think critically, that's not the people's fault who are getting produced. It's the fault of the system. And what we need actually is a radical overhaul.
And it's also the fault of the adults who won't contend with them or allow them to be contended with for fear of the emotional damage, or they won't be able to handle it, even when we're talking about college students who are adults.
Well, that's why I was asking you about why college administrators cave to this stuff, right? Because I think within that, there is actually power that they don't realize they have, because those are also teachable moments, right? When a bunch of kids demand some kind of readjustment of the entire system, if you have strong leadership in that moment that communicates that is not how this works, that can teach those kids something. And I think there's been an abdication of responsibility on the part of the adults, I think, which is what Francis is trying to get in that way as well. Would you agree?
Yeah, for sure. It goes back to that. I just can't stop thinking about this example with Sam Richards and how there's this fear of all of these problems are going to have so many variables, though. There's the variable of liability. Well, it's being streamed on YouTube. Okay, well, let's take that off the table. What about the classrooms where it's not being streamed on YouTube or being shared? Is that occurring? I'm sure it must be happening. I haven't seen it personally. Doesn't mean it's not happening, but I think I agree with you. It's safe to say that the majority of cases, it's not being fostered.
Yeah, it definitely needs to be fostered more. The idea of critical thinking, for sure. Let's see. Appreciate that, Abe. Really appreciate the reminder. Make sure to like and subscribe, folks. I really appreciate it saying that, Abe. Apprentice, it's not all the fault of the kids, but adults need to be held accountable for their actions. I agree that the failure to teach them to think is on the teachers and the parents, but they've had plenty of opportunity to listen to people like Kirk. Don't Call It Art says, I do think that it's the students' fault as well. They decided to outsource their own responsibilities to think for themselves to those who perceive to be authority figures. And I agree with that. So does Apprentice, apparently. So the biggest thing is we choose. Like when I was in school, I chose not to listen, right? I saw with the discernment that I was able to have with the religion that I had been born into, it taught me some discernment. And so when I got into school, and it might have been me teaching my own discernment, because even in the church, they, you do this, you do that. And if you question, you get your, but I learned to question. And so when I got into school, I questioned, and I didn't like what I was getting, right? So I rebelled. I ended up getting kicked out of school for a year, not because I was rebelling, but because I was stupid. But we won't get into that right now. But me getting kicked out of school made me realize the importance of education, the importance of understanding the world around you and not just regurgitating information like the public school teaches us to do. Tyler TV says college has turned into a business and they care more about their athletic department, donations, and the DEI agenda. And Marcelary, appreciate the engagement, Marcelary. I don't know if you've been through the whole stream or if you're coming back, but I appreciate you. Let's see. And Prentice says, everything becomes about that almighty dollar. If you have nothing better to ground yourself in, then it all goes back to greed. And that's just it, is we have to be in the world and paying taxes and doing what we need to be doing for the world, for the society, for the communities that we have. But we should not ever be of the world. And that might be an old Mormon saying, I don't know, but it still resonates. You should be in the world and participating in the laws, but you should never be of that world and want the material possessions that we are driven to have at all times, right? We should own nothing and be happy. And that's why all of these things work so well. Because you should own nothing and be happy. You should be able to just up and leave everything behind because God asked you to, not because your government asked you to. Okay, so we should not be allowing the government to own everything, or especially a third party like the WEF. Where did that come from? I don't remember ever electing anybody for the WEF. The WEF. the World Economic Forum, right? Why do they get to tell us what the economic forum is? Marcelary, been here. I went long enough to answer a notification, but I've been chomping dinner the whole time. I'm a psycho about not cross-contaminating food and phone. By all means, Marcelary, I appreciate the view. I didn't mean anything by it. I know that you're busy, and so I appreciate you more than I can say. Again, all of you in that chat, especially the ones that are chatting. If you're not chatting, you're still awesome for the view. But if you would chat, I love to see the people. If you haven't noticed, right, I like to put you up on the screen and show that you're engaging, and I love you because you're all part of my community and my family of sorts, right? Sundays are food prepping and good dinners. That's awesome, Marcelary. It's good to have a schedule. I need to get a better schedule so that I'm not so overwhelmed with everything that I've got going on. I do a lot, guys.
And it's also as well, not only do we not encourage kids and young people to think critically, we also fetishize emotions. So if you're having a debate and you say something that I profoundly disagree with, or you criticize a point and I get offended because I hold that point dear, suddenly it becomes acceptable to be offended or angry or upset, and I'm the one in the right and you're the one in the wrong.
Yeah, that's
another problem is all of a sudden where we can't give offense, we can only take offense. Now all of the sudden that taking offense is like a badge of honor. It's an award of sorts that if you claim offended, that you have to be accepted for that offense, or else the other person is a bigot. What happened? I think I've mentioned this so many times before that I'm blue in the face. What happened to sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me, right? I can get depressed. I can get down on myself because of the words that are told to me, but they shouldn't physically hurt. Homestead Wench, I'm lurking, cooking dinner for my family. Again, absolutely. I appreciate the engagement when you can. I don't want anybody to ever think that I'm demanding engagement. I just love to see you guys. That's all. I just want to make sure that you're doing okay. And again, for my mental state, I like talking to people. I've gotten to where I just chop, par, steam, and freeze all the veggies I need for the week so they don't go bad in the fridge if I don't use them fast enough each week. That's awesome. Food prep is a good thing to know and know how to do well. If you can prep all of your food throughout the week, and then you can actually spend time with your family and your kids, things like that. All right.
How it gets weaponized.
Yeah, apprentice-based ladies coming out of the woodwork. That's the best thing about this community is I'm actually having some faith restored in the female race, right? The female sex. Because again, before I started my stream, I was watching the Whatever podcast and getting asked to do OF content with girls online. I didn't have the best based women around me. So I appreciate you ladies so much more than I can ever say. We have fresh meal for dinner every night. So being pre-prepped is so much easier. Hell yeah, it is, Marcelary. And that, again, based. Seriously, we need more of you guys, more of you ladies. Sorry, being sexist there.
I was just thinking about probably the next video I do is looking back at you talking to Alex O'Connor, I think, and he was trying to make the case as though hate speech laws are justifiable. Well, because we have libel laws, or defamation laws. So
that's funny, Apprentice. Yeah, actually, that's actually kind of true. If Twitch is the LF pipeline, then whatever is the black pill pipeline. Hilarious, but depressing. Oh man, that is too true. That is too true. I love Whatever. Again, if you haven't watched the Whatever podcast, we usually have a Whatever watch party. I usually have everybody streaming it in the background as we're watching it in my Discord, so we're not trying to stream snipe. It's not my deal. I don't like doing that. We might start doing something on live streams that I might start to stream share, but I'll probably try to get some kind of permission before I do that, because I'm not somebody to try to step on others' toes. But if you do like getting communities and things like that, in my Discord, we usually watch the Whatever podcast Sunday afternoons and talk in the side chat, and it's a good time. I'm not gonna lie, it's a lot of fun. Whatever says, or I'm sorry, Hardwire says, words only hurt someone as much as they let them. Weapons, not so much. True that, man. True that. Unfortunately, words have become weapons. And that's where I don't understand. That's what I don't understand is why are we so offended by words when it's literally a word? So many words. Oh my gosh. Like so many words. They're just words.
Can't you imagine, Constantine, a case in which you are actually causing emotional distress or harm to someone because of this medical condition? I mean, and I think you handled that well. You were kind of like, just like, what are you? They're just two completely different things. But so I thought it just reminded me of that. I thought that was interesting.
I agree with you. I'm great.
I'm not gonna lie, that was pretty fucking funny. I'll agree with you. I'm great. Goodness gracious. Don't call it art. It says I want to get a green screen so I can put myself on Whatever to yell at people. That's actually pretty epic. That's funny. I kind of want to do more of the green screen. Like I love my iconic background, my flag, and especially my Eagle Scout Award. But I do kind of like the idea of having something in the background of just like wildness. And so you're like, what the fuck is going on behind him? Fucking Button says, Whatever can be fun to watch, but also more often than not, my brain just melts beyond the point of being able to troll my women during to go along with the show. That's fair. But yeah, if you ever join the Discord and it's actually a really good time. I love Whatever. I do. I like Brian. I like the layout and the format of it, but to have some people so the live stream chat is going so fast, right? You can see it while you're streaming it off the side because everybody's going to be streaming it behind the scenes, but it's going so fast that you really can't communicate with anybody and actually have feedback on what you're saying. So in the Discord, you can actually get some feedback and talk to people directly about it. It's actually really fun. Again, I really like it. The Crucible, when they've got live chats, they've got like 14,000 people in their chat. And it's just flying, and again, so I'm not stream snipe. Like we all have it streaming. If anybody ever watches this, we all have it streaming in the background, and that's one of my rules about it. Don't call it art. Sorry, Bucket Button says, don't call it art. If you do it, I'll get a blue wig to go on the other side of the table. That's awesome. That'd be fun.
I've forgotten we had that conversation. I like Alex. We get on very well, actually. I don't remember that bit, but it was a long time ago.
Yeah, I just stumbled on it. I hadn't seen it before. Like, that's interesting.
And you're someone who really thinks about this very carefully. Do you have thoughts on how to develop critical thinking skills, how to teach critical thinking skills?
Yes. So with martial arts, there's this concept of like the kata, right? So, and it's when you're in a real street fight, or for example, you can't stop and think. It's all do. So
yeah, that's the biggest thing about martial arts. So I've been through martial arts a few times. Nothing worth actually speaking of. I went to a class for a couple of weeks with a school project, and then I did a couple of classes because I'm broke. I've never had money to my name to really do things like that, which really depresses me, because martial arts, if you have kids, honestly, and they have anger issues, martial arts is one of the best things that you can do for them. There's a couple of Facebook groups that I try to promote and help with martial arts, because the discipline that is involved with martial arts is beyond anything that you can think of, really. But with martial arts, like he's saying right here, the kata are step-by-step instructions on how to do moves to counter other moves and then proceed through with a move of your own. Are you serious? Jesus. Sorry about that, guys. So the kata is basically the process, the framework of martial arts. And so he's trying to come up with a kata of his own for critical thinking.
Figure out, okay, so, and a lot of that is nonverbal. So the signals that were being sent to me, for example.
All right, Marshall Larry, I appreciate you being here. I'm going to head out. Haven't had a chance to catch a stream that's going live right now in a while for the type of stream they're doing. So going to drop in for a moment. Well, I appreciate the engagement while I had you. Again, I'm going a little bit longer on my stream, so I completely understand you wanting to dip out. I'll be probably wrapping up before too much longer, guys, just so you know. But if you can, stick with me just so that I have that retention rate. But again, if you need to dip out, feel free. Thank you, Tater. Mods, glad I finally got a chance to sit through a long stream and have a chance to catch your replay. Again, appreciate the engagement, Marshall Larry. You have yourself a blessed day. That's awesome. I'm glad you could catch it. Thank you very much.
No one came up to me and said, we want you to be fired for because I disagree with the body language around JK. I noticed it. There's a lot of communication that's nonverbal. Perhaps even most communication is nonverbal. And people don't say what they really think at the copy machine, what your colleague really thinks, but they telegraph it.
And again, that's where that micro expressions and body language and things come into play. These are things that you don't consciously do. And so as you're watching people act, right? Actions, mind what people do, not only what they say, for actions will betray a lie. I believe that's one of the Wizard's rules in the The Sword of Truth series. It's a really good book series by Terry Goodkind, I believe. But if you've never read it, it's pretty intense. It's pretty intense for sure. All right, so let's see.
Okay, so but once we do enter the verbal, what is the kata that will allow us to navigate this? So I try and formulate a method that will help with that. For me, I describe it as,
well, Marcel Larry, you are a real one. That is epic. You're based as shit for that. Thank you very much for that. I have no clue how streaming works, so if that will help, I got you, fam. I appreciate that, Marcel Larry. Yeah, so I'm actually learning a lot of streaming of my own. So if you have a longer retention rate, it helps the algorithm out. So if anybody wants to go and visit other streamers and come back, that always helps too. But I appreciate everybody. Seriously, I cannot tell you how much I appreciate you.
Sort of a flaw filter where it's not so much, I come at it as though this is the least bad option I've been able to find. Can you genuinely offer anything better? And it's important to recognize the least bad option because, as Churchill said, democracy is the worst form of government except for all the others. There's going to be flaws, and that's
And see, that's the thing, is it's worse, but except for all the others, right? So there's really no good form of governance. So what we have currently is probably our best option. So we need to hold on to that and not turn it into a full-fledged democracy to where everybody and their dog get a right to vote. Let's see.
Method people take or a strategy people take, just pointing out the flaws, that doesn't disprove you have a better alternative. So I'm listening for the alternative. I imagine kind of this like this red light bulb that is sitting on the desk, and I'm listening. I'm just this filter, not really taking a strong position necessarily. It depends. But, and when that light bulb goes off with the first flaw, now you're ready to make a move. I lay out a strategy for that, but a lot of it is demeanor. How do you develop the demeanor? And then that gets into the laws of narrative. I think a lot of understanding these dynamics, you need to understand the laws of narrative to understand and think critically about dynamics like we've been describing with.
And that's another thing, is you need to understand. You have to understand the laws of dynamics and the laws of logic and things like this to be able to understand reality and logic. Awesome. Birds aren't even real. You've read the Sort of Truth series. That's awesome. Looks like Apprentice may be another one that's read it. Like I said, it's an amazing series. I read it when I was in high school, I want to say it was. And it's really probably for people that are like 25 or older. It gets a little risque at times. But again, there's the smut books. I don't know. So it's a little bit of a smutty book, but it is awesome. It teaches some really good points of like socialism and things like that, what it really boils down to and stuff. It's a good book series.
Why are these moves being made with people teaming up in this way or not breaking away from their team? For this, they're not thinking critically. Their team comes first. And a lot of that, perhaps it's because I spent 10 years studying screenwriting and filmmaking and the laws of narrative, but a lot of these lessons are relevant, and I think it gave me.
That's a long time studying screenwriting for sure. Defo Zappo, I think you might be new in my chat. I really appreciate the engagement. Good to see you. Welcome to the channel. Hope to keep you around. If you'd subscribe and hit the notification bell and see if I can keep you entertained. Critical thinking isn't dying, it's dead. Individualism and free thought speech are the absolute enemy of the ruling class. It's why they chose kids' school books, curriculums, and all of the media. That's actually a good point. Appreciate the engagement and that feedback. That's a very, very good point.
The basis for what I use today. So hopefully that book will be something that people can use to develop critical thing, but also how to navigate these daily games.
Well, it's interesting you bring up daily games because it's kind of how I think about it. Like, if you think about life in general, the closer you are to the truth of whatever the issue is, the more functionally better off you're going to be in that situation, right? So if your understanding of how to run a business is as close to the truth as possible, you're going to be better at running a business. If your understanding of what the truth of a YouTube channel is and how to run one, you're going to be better at doing that. If your understanding of what relationships are like is closer to the truth, that's much better for you than having your own emotional experience that drives you away from the truth and towards confirming your own biases or whatever else. And that.
Yeah, and so that's, again, the thing is there's only one truth to reality. In reality, there's only one way that things can go. Like Warren is just about to explain, we individually have only a certain way that we can do things. This way for my body structure is going to be the best and most optimal way. So that is the true way of doing things. Yeah, Apprentice. Defo Zappo, you seem to have some, so it's not all dead. Just discovered you 30 seconds ago and I subbed. Thank you very much, Defo Zappo. You're a real one for sure. I hope to keep you around and keep you entertained. And again, if you're not part of if you are part of Discord and not part of my Discord, join my Discord. I'm always open to subject topic suggestions. So if you want to see something broke down like a potato, feel free to drop it into my Discord. I would love to share what you want to see. I would love to share it.
That's what I think a lot of people don't realize is truth has it's not just a like morality thing, it has a tremendous value. And so when we argue about what the truth is about politics or philosophy or society, that's the place from which we're coming, and that's why it's so valuable, right?
Yeah, and that's interesting that you put it that way, that there is a true way to run a business, because postmodernism would claim that, which is all about truth claims being the result of social conditioning. Many would claim there is no true way to run a business. It's up to me, and all interpretations are equally valid, which goes back to
how many postmodernists have a business that they
run. Right. So
and that's actually a very good point. Kind of funny him mentioning bias. He's notoriously biased himself. I mean, we all are in some way. Yeah, defo Zeppo. That's the thing, is we all have some biasness to us, right? That's why I'm trying to be more of a potato, more general kind of consensus, so that I can get an understanding of both sides. I don't want an echo chamber. I want to be able to have some pushback on my worldview, as much as it's uncomfortable to me. I like to be able to see why you see things the way that you see them, right? We have one gentleman in my Discord, his name's Alter, and he's a left, and he is very strong in his opinions, and so we have quite a few interesting debates with the gentleman. Keeps coming back, still willing to engage, and that's what's important, is the ability to have discussions in respect with each other and having respect for each other. Appreciate that, Apprentice, for dropping that in the chat. If you're not part of the Discord, join the Discord. It is a lot of fun. It really is a lot of fun. And a lot of faucets. Don't ask, you'll learn. Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
And I think that it's such an important dynamic that when you're encountering these students, many of them are arguing postmodernism. They don't know what postmodernism is. And try debating someone on postmodernism, like they'll avoid it, and they'll say, I don't want to get into that.
Well, it's like trying to put, nail Jello to the wall, right? But you see, you take any example that, I mean, you talked about martial arts. I imagine, I'm not a martial artist, but I imagine it's true that there are different ways to throw a punch and there are different ways to do this. But there is a truth.
But there's one punch that's most effective. Our bones can only structure in one way. Given your body composition, there's only one way you can get the most momentum in that position.
Right.
So that's an important distinction.
Yeah, like I mentioned, and he just confirmed, it's your body style. And like I said, I've been through martial arts a couple of times, so I understand what he's talking about. I've been through katas. I've had some that I've memorized and forgotten. And so I understand what is efficient and what is right? What works but isn't the best isn't always the best thing to do, obviously, because if it's not the best. Let's see. Defo Zappo says, the person I've trusted for the past almost 20 years is James Cobert. He really just delivers unfiltered information and gives you all the links, and you draw your own conclusions. Even he is biased. Thank you very much for that information. James Corbett. I'm going to have to maybe check that person out, see what that's all about. Like I said, I always like new information. Doesn't matter if it's what I think or not. I want to learn all of the different sides. I'm going to be biased just like everybody else because I'm on the side of Christ. So I'm going to be biased when it comes to that. But other than that, I try to be very low or very, very middle ground. Oh, nice. That's awesome, Defo Zappo. Okinawan karate and bujitsu and Lado. That's awesome. I've done a couple of jujitsu and what else did I? Karate and shoot, it's been so long since I've done anything. Now I'm just like a big pushover, right? Don't call it art. Yes, exactly. I am biased to the truth. For real there, for real. Actually, that is a very good point.
This is what I think a lot of this dynamic that we now have in terms of the way people communicate is, I think actually most people I see online are behaving like postmodernists.
Yeah.
Almost everybody,
yes.
left and right.
Okay, so So you spoke to Destiny the other day. I made a video critiquing it, and there's already a response video where I compared it to postmodernism, his response. People are claiming, well, no, Warren's claiming it's postmodernism, but that has to do with truth claims. But when Destiny says to you, well, what is a lot? It's always changing, therefore you shouldn't be concerned about it. What do you mean unprecedented? Like, what do you even mean by when you're claiming it is or it is not a lot? That is a truth claim. So, and maybe I should have said it's similar to talking to a postmodernist when they do that. Everything's always changing, so we can't expect a standard. What
Exactly. That's the thing, is they're constantly developing. So a progressive ideology is constantly progressing. It's constantly changing. So what is the ideology if it's constantly changing and constantly progressing? Defo Zeppo, absolutely. God is truth. God is, Christ is God. King of Kings, always will be. As long as they acknowledge their bias, I can respect them on both sides. I may not, but I can. Apprentice. That's fair. That's fair. All right. Did I miss something here? No. You're just pointing up at yourself, Apprentice. Is that what you're doing? You're like, yeah, I did a good comment. I'm just kidding. That was a good comment for sure. The truth never changes, just like God. Exactly, Defo Zappo. God does not change. Never has, never will.
What traditions are you, can you point to a single tradition that hasn't changed? Traditions don't matter to a postmodernist. It's all, and it's absolutely the opposite to how I view, perhaps it's because of my background in narrative, where I do believe like these stories, these archetypes are not just the result of social conditioning. They resonated, they will resonate for deeper reasons.
New year, new system.
All right, so that brings us to the postmodernism, and I think that'll wrap up the stream. So we'll go ahead and watch this real fast.
There and going, this doesn't make sense. That's literally what I thought. Because when I asked them to explain postmodernism, they couldn't really explain what postmodernism is.
That's actually a question that I have. And anybody in the chat that might be able to explain it to me, what is postmodernism? Because modernism is what we're currently at, right? We're modern. So what is postmodernism? Is that what's the term that I'm looking for? After an apocalypse? Is that what we're talking about here?
Yes. And in my art class.
Yes, it is, apparently.
It's required to take modern art, right? Oh, we go in there. She's explaining to me, very nice professor, but she's explaining to me that the banana nailed to the wall is of equal aesthetic beauty as the David, Michelangelo, or whatever it is. There are no objective standards for beauty. Beauty is purely a social construct, which actually goes against biology, that there has to be a yardstick that drives us to see a hierarchy of beauty, so we have a target to pursue.
But the interesting thing that I find about postmodernism, and why I think it's so prevalent today, is that you can only really understand postmodernism if you're disconnected from reality.
And that would actually make a lot of sense. And just like Don't Call It Art says, in postmodernism art, it's all about distortion and chaos. That would tie right into that. You have to be disconnected from reality for it to make any kind of sense.
And every postmodernist you speak to claims what you're describing is not postmodernism. And that gets very frustrating. This is the technique that I see the most often. We know what straw manning is. They claim, no, you're misrepresenting my argument. But what will happen, Destiny, for example, he'll misrepresent your argument, claim, no, what you're describing is critical race theory. That's not what critical race theory is. All critical race theory is thinking critically about the structures of group dynamics and power in the past, and how and they make it sound completely harmless. So say, fine, going off the nonverbal thing, then what I'm talking about, call it whatever you want, is what led those students at Emerson to do this, and what led that professor to tell us to to surrender our white privilege. That's what I want to examine, the ideology that leads to that. You can call it whatever you want, and they're going to try and go off on this thing. Just keep them on the rails.
Absolutely, because the more you investigate it, you go, oh, you have to be disconnected from reality in order for this to seem like it makes sense, which is why discussions on Twitter and social media are so postmodern, is because they're fundamentally disconnected from reality. Ridiculous ideas can live in social media because they're not applied to the real world, because they're in the ether, they're in the digital age, if you know what I mean.
Yes, yes. That's why I love the format that I am playing with, because it circumvents the strategy where they'll claim no one's saying that, no one is making that argument. Well, I'll show you the words coming out of their mouth, and then comment on it, and then cut to them doing it again.
Yeah, so like he's saying here, there's a video that he's going to be reacting to of Destiny, basically saying that we need to lock people up. We need to make up stories about the right, and so that we can put people behind bars for whatever reason, by any means necessary, I believe is what the term that he uses. But Defo Zappo, yeah, exactly. Straw man arguments, ad hominem attacks, and gaslighting sums up most debates in 2026. Yeah, one of the videos that I did a while back was on how dialectical debate style is dying and how we need to bring it back. So that's one thing. Since you're new to the channel, I do have open panels on Thursday evenings at about 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I don't know where you're located, but where we have open panel discussions. Anybody is welcome to join. Anybody is welcome to voice their opinion. There's no heat. There's no push. There's no debate. Hot debate, I should say. It may get debated, but it's not going to be done out of a heated or clipping, try to get clips out of it and things like that. We want to move the conversations forward, because I, for one, am very tired of the straw man arguments, the ad hominems attacks, and the gaslighting that's happening, the obfuscation, the gish galloping, right? The gish gallop is one of the biggest forms of sophistry debating style that I come across. So I definitely would love for you to join in on any panel if you're part of Discord. And if you're not part, feel free to join in with the live chat. I usually try to watch the live chat and voice those questions that are given in the live chat on into the panel so we can get some feedback on it. So feel free to join in if you ever want to. Let's see. That sounds fascinating. What did you say? What did you say? What'd you say? Apprentice, yeah. Objectivity. What the fuck is wrong with me today? Objectivity seems to be a lost art. Potato guys, wagon wheel, I guess. Man, I'm having a hard time pronouncing things today. Let's see. Apprentice, CAD, shoots, shooty shoots, print, shooty shoots, and shooty shoot. Okay. Bucket button, whatever you say. Thanks for the engagement, Marcelary. Appreciate you still being around.
My favorite video I've ever made was the postmodern professor talking with Joe Rogan. And it was like, you couldn't, if you described it, no one would believe you. So I can't, this is a narrative, a law of narrative, the central law of screenwriting, show, don't tell. I can.
Thanks, don't call it art. Objectivity. Objectivity. Nice. Now we're going down the faucet trail again. Sounds like 50 Center's song. I think that might have been 50 Cent's song. That's funny. Fuck it button. I thought it might be that, but it had enough similar things to draft terms that I wasn't sure. Apprentice. All right.
I can't tell you about it because you won't believe it. I can show you though.
Absolutely, because we've had Adam Carolla on the show many times, and one of the points Adam makes is like the most sensible people are those people who work with their hands. Like, we can talk about postmodernism and go, oh, you know, the aesthetic beauty of a banana nailed to the wall as compared to a Caravaggio, but you can't go to your carpenter and go, what is a centimeter?
Right. Find where the rubber meets the road. So like we were just doing with critical race theory, find a tangible point. That professor said this to me in that room. Where does the rubber, the trans conversation debate? We're talking about laws, structuring.
Thank you very much, Jess the Shepherdess. Got to run. The sheep are hollering. Yeah, I've been streaming for longer than I normally do, so I appreciate the engagement. Have a great week, everyone. Again, thank you very much for the engagement, Jess. If you don't know, she has her own channel, does sheep content. So check that channel out. It is, what is it? Shepherd's Nook, at Shepherd's Nook. If one of the mods in the chat want to post it, I'd appreciate it. I'm sure she would appreciate it as well. For those that are new and tuning in, she has her own channel. So again, thank you very much for joining us, and you have yourself a blessed week. Thank you very much.
Laws, right? Just go right there in the debate. Not the theory portion of it or how I feel about it. It's like, how are we going to actually implement this where the rubber meets the road?
Warren, do you have any thoughts on why humanity is at a point now where this way of thinking has become appealing to people? What is about modernity or the condition of humanity at this moment that means that people are capable of thinking this is a useful way to think?
We had a big transformation in the 60s, my parents' generation. The Vietnam War had a big impact. Postmodernism, introduced from France, became very appealing because of that transformation. That generation became the administrators. That's the dean at the college, that generation. That's my parents, right? They're on board with all, it's fun talking to them because it quickly dismantles, but they're still...
Thank you very much, Bandit. I appreciate you posting that. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Turn that notification bell on, guys. Appreciate the engagement and keeping around. Again, since pretty much the day that I started streaming, I've had pretty much the same viewers, and not that that's a problem. That's actually a really good thing. I've had a lot of engagement, and I appreciate you so much for that. I'd like more viewers, obviously. So I appreciate anybody new that's staying around and anybody that's old staying around. I freaking love you guys so much. Apprentice, appreciate you posting it. I got you, Master Fam. All right. We'll finish this up just a few more minutes.
What was the transformation? Why did the Vietnam War have this
Well,
effect?
because people viewed the Vietnam War, right or wrong, as a big injustice and a miscarriage of power, and it put them on edge. We had World War II, very different. The narrative has shifted drastically. It's so different than from World War II to there. That, I think, culturally, music, the counterculture, and there's cool things about all that. Like, I like Jimi Hendrix and all that. I think that was, yes, the turning point that has now led to the generation in control. And now we're seeing a completely new generation, the Destiny, his audience, who are pushing for they're claiming we need to do what they did to Hunter Biden I was listening to his moderator try and talk to Destiny, concerned about the radicalization, violent threats, being like, why do we need to make things up when they're doing things wrong already? They believe there's enough to point where this guy believes if they're doing things wrong, we should be able to point to it, which seems reasonable. If you're going to try and arrest someone, you should be able to point to something. Destiny's response is, no, but they're too clever for that, so we have to make it up. It's literally like, I'm going to make a video about it and show you him saying that. Again, show, don't tell. People won't believe it, but
Yeah, that's another reason why I'm doing my channel, is because I don't just want to talk about things. I want to show you what I'm finding so that you see it from the horse's mouth. As much information that I can get from the source, I try to go to the source. So if anybody has any recommended content creators that they would like to promote, like Apprentice says here, if anybody in the chat has their own channel, let me know. We can drop you for a shout out as well. We're all about building the channels that are in congruence with us. If you have a channel that's opposite of us, then we would still like the pushback, and so we can understand why you think the way that you do. We're probably not going to necessarily promote it, but we still want to see all of the different sides. Apprentice says, if you're in the Discord, you can Apprentice. What is your on the Discord? Apprentice Senin on Discord. So same name. At Apprentice Senin on Discord. If you're part of Discord and you want to tag him, if you can tag me, Prototator, anybody that you need to. Defo Zappo says what they actually brought over was things like second wave feminism, which was weaponized against the traditional household, and now 2 salaries can barely afford a home. Yeah, barely. Barely. That's part of the reason why I'm starting this, is because I've got a company that I own a company, guys, and I can't make it. So I've started 2 different incomes to try to provide for a family. Probably will never have one, but that's what we're driven to do as men, is to provide. Marcelary says based. Not sure who she's saying based to, but you're all based. You're all freaking based, Chads and Chaddises. All right, so we just got a few more minutes and then I'll wrap up, I think.
Saying we need to like lock them up at any cost. It doesn't matter because for the
But that's what I was talking about, right? So again, if you're not following Warren, follow him, because I'm going to be trying to keep an eye out for this video that he's talking about too. And I might cover it. But if Destiny is saying that we need to be doing stuff, like we need to be making shit up to try to hold people accountable for something that they didn't do, that's illegal, isn't it? So if we were to be doing the same thing in turn for the against the left, they would be out in arms against it. We cannot allow that to happen. We've got to start fighting fire with fire, I guess, is all I can say about it.
greater good, essentially.
And that's why these skills are so important, because they are a really effective tool against radicalization. And we've seen people, young people particularly, be radicalized into progressive leftist movements. We're now seeing people get radicalized on the right.
Yes.
And these tools are very effective for fighting back against that.
Yes, understanding the laws of narrative hopefully will help with that, I think. But like, so we should touch on this. I hope I didn't alarm you with the death threat thing. The guy who was kind of going a little bit crazy. All right, well, like, I don't know if you saw that.
I did. I have good security, so I wasn't too worried about it.
Yeah, but what was interesting about that is that I've had people since then messaging me saying this guy has been harassing me for a long time, even on the left. Tilly Middlehurst, who kind of rose to notoriety from debating Charlie Kirk, like the opposite, emailed me the other day. She's like, this guy, like, thank you for posting that. This guy has been creeping me out. Like, people are really concerned. But I had no idea about any of that. But that is...
Yeah, so that's wild. So I don't think I've covered it yet, because I'm been meaning to cover it. It's on the patriarchy, and I might have mentioned multiple times that I'm going to be doing a patriarchy episode, and that patriarchy episode is going to be fairly long. So what I would like to do is I would like to plan it ahead of time, and I'll try to do as much advertising as I can, because I want to get your feedback on it. What I would like to do is I would like to do an open panel after my normal program. Maybe it won't be on a Sunday, I'm not sure. But what I would like to do is I would like to give you my points of view on the patriarchy, and then use those for examples, and then have you join the panel and voice your opinions. So I've talked to a couple of people in my Discord about the patriarchy and how important it is, and I would love to get their feedback again on stream if you would like to. And of course, if you don't want to join panel for it to be on live, I would love to hear your side, your experience, your take on the patriarchy. Defo Zappo says, amen, brother. I actually just got all the tools I need yesterday for my side business. I'm going to make Kydex sheaths for knives. That's actually really freaking awesome, Defo. Keep with me and drop that if you ever get a website, if you have a Facebook page, if you have a YouTube, whatever you have, feed it to me, feed it to my mods, and we'll promote you as much as we can as well. Tilly never mind. Yeah, right. It's funny because I do have to give her a little bit of credit for giving Warren the shout out there. This is a bit graphic, but I saw Destiny grab a cat by its tail and slam it against the wall repeatedly. Are you serious? Holy shit. Another Hassan Piker there, I guess. Defo Zappo, nice. Do you have a site? I know a guy wanting to get into blacksmithing. He might be interested in having sheaths made. Exactly. And that's why I say feed it back to me if you can, please. Please. I would love to build you as well. If you're part of my community, I will always try to build you first. Violence toward animals is how serial unalivers start. Yeah, Defo Zappo, that's exactly it. Hey, Voshmit, good to see you, man. Good to see you. Good to have you in. Another real one there for sure. another Discord member. Appreciate you. Defo Zappo says, I don't have a site yet because I literally got all my tools yesterday. No, I understand that. That's why I'm saying just stick with me. And when you come back with the site, just drop it in the chat and we'll pull it or something. We'll figure something out so that we can get you some kind of notoriety, right? Yeah, Josh Phipp, good to see you. Even if it's just for a minute, we'll probably be wrapping up before too much longer, but appreciate the engagement while I can get you. We've had quite the viewership today, actually, to be completely honest. Better than I've had for a couple weeks, so appreciate you guys. All right, so we'll finish this up real fast. It's just a few more minutes, I think. I was just trying to get to that where he talks about Tilly. The fact that even the left, even the ones that are of their own crew, are eating themselves at this point in time.
Yeah, but you're right. That is the movement that's happening.
Well, I mean, one of the things with the internet as well is I think it's created a space for activating a lot of people who are just mentally not very well. And people are able to develop these kind of parasocial relationships that are both positive in inverted commas and negative, in the sense that some people think that they're in a relationship with an OnlyFans model to which they send money, and other people think they are in a relationship with somebody who they watch online that they don't like.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember, what was that movie with Robert De Niro about baseball? Was it called The Fan? Have you ever seen that?
Yeah, I think it's called The Fan.
The Fan.
Yeah, I think
where
so.
he basically, De Niro is a big fan of this baseball player.
Yeah, Defo Zappo. Destiny is one I've never listened to. I never intend on listening to. The fact that he had an open relationship willingly, saw it as a badge of honor or something like that. Like Andrew says, and if you don't know who Andrew Wilson is, The Crucible, definitely check his channel out. He's a pretty freaking awesome guy to watch. He's a good entertainer. But if you're a cuck, nobody has any respect for you other than other cucks. And what kind of respect is that, really? Vaj Schmidt says, Layable Bear, good to see you. Glad I got to join the party for the stream today. I'm glad you got to join the stream as well, man. I know that I've been going a little bit later than I normally do, so there's that. And it looks like I'm getting some buffering, maybe. So let me finish up here real quick, I guess.
Relationship, and he's trying to help him out, and he ends up doing all kinds of crazy stuff. And I think what the internet has done is it's kind of created a tool for weaponizing mental illness. And if you were like an alien that came down from another planet and read the comments on the average tweet, and you just went through the comments, you would just go, schizophrenia, psychosis, you just go bum, 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 bum. Because, I always say this, like, there's a lot of mentally ill people, and they're mostly on the internet. And that's what I think. And I'm not saying this in a disparaging or derogatory way. I just think there are a lot of people that use politics now as well to kind of fulfill all these things and deal with issues that they need real help with, to be honest.
Yeah, we were talking about this just a moment ago, and I forgot a major component of this, which I think is perceived value. So like when I started to get into the space of viral video, I recognized, like, whoa, there's a little more powerful than the ability to connect with an audience, which is one reason that school fears it so much, because you can't buy it. Brands try, that's what sponsors are. But and I think there's this psychological phenomenon where if there's 10 people looking up, you're going to look up and see, and something occurs with online people, celebrities in general, this perceived value. And you take any of these personalities, they'll say something, and it's because of the surrounding narrative, and we can't separate the characters, so we're seeing it through the lens of that narrative. And I'm just thinking, like, because I was struggling this with myself when I first started. I was like, no one's going to care if I make such a mundane observation. But a mundane observation in the mouth of someone else, they're viewing it through that narrative, and it takes on a whole nother meaning. So I think that has something to do with it. There's something deeply psychological about it, where you reach a point where someone is famous for the sake of being famous at that point. It's like a struggle for them until then. You see actors kind of break through that threshold. Until that point, it's all about the roles. But once they cross that threshold of perceived.
Yeah, and see, that's just it, is you know, people start getting to be famous just because they're famous, just because they've been around for so long. So I don't know what's going on with my internet. I've lost connection with everything but the actual stream, it looks like. I'm watching it on one of my alternate accounts. It says, birds aren't even real. I appreciate your calm attitude, Potato. I appreciate you. I appreciate you guys. I'm trying to take, you know, things with mellow views and things like that. So I appreciate that that comment for sure. I can't tell you how much that means to me, really. So I'll wrap up my stream before I lose my stream. I don't know why. What's going on with my chat? It's completely disconnected from every source, other than the second alternate account. So with that being said, I'll just bring us back over into this channel, or this this scene. So if you haven't checked out Warren, again, this particular video is in the description below. Please go check him out. He has some really good takes, breaks down things very logically. Leave your comments in the section below, of course. Give me suggestions on what to view, what to do better, right? What you like, what you don't like of what I'm doing, and so that I can do something to help you guys out. Again, as always, please take care of yourselves out there. Remember those Second Amendment rights within the United States. Your response time will always be faster than that of the police. And as always, I want to keep all of you around for as long as possible. Those outside of the United States, please take care of yourselves the best way that you know how. Your rights are disappearing like they're going out of style, like I've mentioned multiple times, and that concerns me. So please take care of everyone around you, yourselves included. As always, you could be anywhere in the world right now, especially considering I'm going longer than I normally do, and you could be anywhere in the world, but you're here with me, and I appreciate that more than I can ever say. Christ is God, the King of Kings, and always will be. And the Potato, wishing you luck and signing off.
Step aside, emotion tied. Truth is a cause that never lies. You can stomp your feet, you can shout at the sky, you can glare at the mirror asking why. But the world keeps spinning its measured spin. No matter what mood you think you're in, equations don't shake and the facts don't break. You can paint your feelings up, truth won't take the bait. Reality's stone, not clay, my friend. It don't shift just cause you try to pretend. Storm clouds of feeling can roll and roar, but the math stands firm like a steel locked door. Logic don't bend for your attitude. It don't bow down to a fragile mood. You can cry, deny, or get loud and dramatic. The universe answers in cold mathematics. You can rage, disengage, or throw your fits, but logic don't leave just cause you quit. It stands there unbothered, forever unfeeling. Truth don't care what emotion you're wielding. Truth don't care what emotion you're wielding. You can argue with fire, you can plead with the rain, but numbers don't pity and facts feel no pain. You can dress up belief, put a shine on hope. Reality reality still cuts the fantasy road. Laws of nature don't flinch, they don't take sides. Doesn't matter how tightly you cling to your pride. Gravity don't stop cause it hurts your plans. It's the one thing here that truly understand. Feelings are waves, but truth is a spine. Unmoved, untouched by the passing of time. You can shout at the rules, but the rules still rule. Logic don't care if you call it cruel. Logic don't bend for your attitude. It don't bow down to a fragile mood. You can break down, shake down, call it unfair, but truth just stands with 1,000-yard stare. You can beg, protest, or try to persuade, but facts don't fold and they don't get swayed. It's the one cold star the universe is shielding. Logic don't care what emotion you're wielding. Logic don't care what emotion you're wielding. So breathe it in, my friend. Life makes more sense when you let truth win. Feelings pass, but logic don't bend.